Get it, go with it. Go.
Wizzy Earl.
Oh,
Yeah,
early.
yeah. Everybody so far vibrating. Let's go. Wanna talk about cars, cover the main issue. Music girl on the beat. See online, 7 9 be on time. We can't hang, word to the mother. He's been on this grind for a while. We're gonna let you before God. Come running back. The brother so smart, my brother got sound. We're gonna let you before God. And listen up, this what the state started to talk. I gave him very little direction. Gave him very little direction.
I love it.
And this is what he came up with.
I love how you.
Anytime I hear it, I'm like, yo.
I love how you correctly recite it.
Yeah.
Have you heard Jody's new song?
Take it out.
Have you heard Jody's new song?
I did. We had Jody on. She joined us via video chat. She was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. When I heard it, I just said, hey girl, hey.
Not hey girl, hey.
I could pull that on.
No, you can't.
So y'all go laugh at me when I tell y'all what I want to tell y'all. I just got into
You should.
Like I started the first 2 episodes last season, or the season when it started, and I couldn't get into it. I really couldn't. And then when I saw they did a back for the season, I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
And so between yesterday and this morning, I binged from episode 3 through. Yeah, I said, well,
I haven't seen the new season yet.
Okay, it's starting off kind of slow, but
we have that.
okay.
Oh, I was gonna come back to it anyway.
Yeah,
I just haven't started yet.
I love it. It's like
All right, y'all. Ain't no half step with Marcus J is live. We are in the building, ready for an outstanding show as we do every single week. We are very excited, and we're going to get into what we're going to talk about here on the other side. But we have a very special guest that we're going to introduce. We got topics we're going to introduce, and we're going to bring you the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. This show is called Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. It's live. It's right now.
Open your ears. Strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk is entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Let's get it, y'all. Get it. Asses. Oh, the asses around.
My grit in the teeth.
yeah, you see it, right?
Biting the lip. Yes.
You know, have something. With Marcus J live. Be down with us tonight at 804-402-2893. It's the number to dial if you want to be a part of tonight's show. Thank you to everybody who's rocking with us. We appreciate those folks that are checking us out on Facebook Live. We appreciate those folks that are checking us out on YouTube Live. And we got some salutations that we're already getting, and I'll get them here introduced in just a moment. But before that, I'm going to go a little bit out of the normal order in just a moment. I'm going to do something, y'all. So just trust me. But normally I introduce her last. I want to introduce our special guest last tonight. So I'm going to introduce our co-host first tonight. She sits on my right side because she is my right hand. She is my sister who I love, y'all. That's her right there. That's Steph B. What's up, Steph?
Always forward.
Always
You know
forward.
where we go.
You know, I love it when you say that. I love when you say that. I wanted to introduce you first because I want to give some special love, some special salutations to our very, very special guest who is sitting in the chair that is usually inhabited by our other illustrious co-host who is doing the retired guy thing. I think he's on a plane somewhere. Who knows? I think he's jamming in Bucharest or something. I don't know. But those tall shoes have been filled very, very fully and eloquently by Legacy Internet Radio alumni. She is
That's the alum. That's the honorary doctorate.
friend of the family.
Honorary doctorate.
She is friend of the family. She is our sister and one of the most hardest working people I know. This is cool if I say it, but y'all know when we normally say it like this. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited to be here, man. I've been looking forward to this all weekend. I'm like, yo, let me get some sleep on Sunday. So I get ready.
Yeah. We're so happy.
Shadow box.
You know what I'm saying?
We're so happy to have you, man.
Hey, even everybody in virtual land, I see you numbers.
Yeah.
Come on, share this show real quick. We got lots to talk about.
Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and get some of these salutations in. Let's see, the career cheerleader, Carl Presley, also Legacy and Radio Love. She typed what we just said. Cool.
Exactly.
Let's
Cara is
see. She
on her way
says,
to see Radio B.
oh, what?
Yeah,
And
and friends.
Yeah, Radio B. She's
I
on her way
came to
to
work instead,
Yeah.
and
Radio B.
Yeah,
Well, shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. They have a fantastic event, you guys.
Outstanding.
16 bars down, bro.
Okay.
16 bars down.
We get some love from Michelle.
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 Michelle in the building.
So happy that you are rocking with us tonight as well.
Thank you.
Yes. And cousin Terry is checking in.
Terry.
She's saying peace and love.
Hey,
Hey,
Kyle.
Mom.
Peace to you. Greensboro is checking us out. Let's see. The rock star and also Legacy Internet Radio alum and one of the most naturally and giftedly funny people
Oh
I've
my
ever met
goodness, bro.
in my
Betty
life. Our
in the
sister
building.
Alabama Betty is here.
Hey,
She's checking us
building.
out right now, and so I'm loving that. And another one of our very, very special friends and Legacy Internet Radio alumni, our sister Jasmine is checking us out as well. So the Red Lip Vixen is checking us out. So checking you out, and we appreciate you for rocking with us as well. So yeah, hey, right,
Right?
yeah. Hey, look, I'm thinking this estrogen. I might have to kick John out or something. Nah, I can't do
it once a month. Once a month.
Yeah, we have done about that. So, and next week in that chair will be our sister Apple Brown.
Yes, I can't wait for that
Yeah,
one.
so that's gonna be dope.
I can't wait for that one.
Absolutely.
What are you gonna do? All that brown.
Well, y'all see what I'm doing, right?
It's women.
Of course. It's the first thing I know. Exactly when John come back, it's definitely gonna be a different energy.
It's all day. My man,
I'm
though.
transparent. Keep it all the way funky. Ain't no ask that to check. So cool, what's up with you, man?
Everything
Let's
and
talk
at the
before
same
we get
time.
into the topics and all of the stuff that we get to. We gotta talk to you first, man.
I'm doing great. I'm doing phenomenal.
Yeah,
I'm doing phenomenal right now. Just chilling. I got a couple events coming up.
yeah.
July 2nd, we're doing the first annual RVA Adult Play Day.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is gonna be like a big field day.
Like with running.
like jacks.
Word?
Did you see me? I was like, with running?
No,
Because I was immediately like,
no.
I guess I'm gonna
You was the girl that got to know the gym class.
Yes,
Except on the day when they would have the big parachute
Oh, I
and you
love
do that, you
Oh, I
run
love that.
underneath it.
Oh.
I love that.
Okay, you might have to bring it up.
But if it's running involved, I
Okay,
only
no.
run at
We're
short run.
doing nostalgic field day games.
Oh, that's Jacks. I was just
Jacks.
the other
I
night
ordered them
saying
off of
I would
Amazon.
kill somebody in a game of Jacks right
Game,
now.
right? So they come to the house. I open them up. My daughter's being nosy. Like, what's in the Amazon box, right? So I open them up and I see them, and I'm just overwhelmed with warm, nostalgic feelings
Yes.
of my childhood. And she was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Jack." She was like, "What's that for?" I said, "It's a game I used
Wait,
to play."
you never showing your daughter Jacks?
Who asked Jax? I don't have my Jax.
I had Jack into my 30s. I don't
I don't
have
have
Jack
my
now. But
Yeah, I
kept
had
mine.
Jacks well into my children being a certain age.
I had to show her how to do it.
Yeah, they were.
She tried to front Loki like she wasn't intrigued with the game. And she was looking at it like, I don't understand. I was like, so you pick one up, then you pick
What
two.
you do when you don't have a video
Then you pick
game?
three. Then you got swap out with the four. Then you got swap out with the five.
You gotta make sure you throw
Throw
them
the joint.
very strategically.
Yes.
So they pull together.
Yes,
as
and I
time
told her
goes
it's all about the throw. It's
Yes.
all about the toss.
Yeah.
If they're too far apart, you gotta like be strategic and get the far away one
Yeah.
first on the one.
And when
two.
you're real bad, which I consider myself a grade A Jacks player,
Yes. Okay.
you can snatch those ones up
Okay,
real
real
fast.
quick.
Oh yeah, and then those twos, you be like, you know,
She was like intrigued, but trying to play hard. She was like, "Oh, that's stupid." I was like, "I bet you can't do it." I got girl. I tried to get on the floor and
oh, that part needs a little work.
Yeah, we working on something. So it's the first annual RVA Adult Field Day. So we're gonna be tug of war, three-legged race, dodgeball, kickball, jacks, hula hoop. We're gonna have water guns. We're gonna have balloon guns. We're gonna have food trucks.
And when is this?
July 2nd. July 2nd. And then, of course, I got the parking lot pull up. That's July 16th. And then after that, just vibe it out for the rest of the month. Got an EP. I'm working on a new EP. I say market some rough drag tracks that I'm working on.
Yeah, they was fire. I mean, I gotta tell y'all because of who it is, but I'm not gonna say anything that she hasn't said first, but I'll just say that what I heard, y'all gonna love.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm working on some things. I'm low key, quiet. I got some things brewing. So keeping it to myself. So everything is nice. Bow ties, everything. Yes, eyes dotted. Yes. Nice little bow, with some sprinkled fairy dust on it, and everything's good. So I'm in a very excellent place. So I'm loving life right now.
Definitely happy.
Thank you.
Steph, how was your weekend?
Listen, I cannot complain. So, I'm part of this book project, which is an anthology, and a bunch of women coming together writing a book. And we had shout out to Amanda McKeithen, the literary enthusiast.
Oh my goodness, I love her.
Shout out to her.
She got me typing.
I don't know if she's only 5 feet, but since she's tiny,
she's so cute
I'm
and
calling
compact.
5 feet of power.
She's so compact.
She's cute. She's smart. She's educated in this literary game. And she did something that makes me very happy. So we had a photo shoot for the authors to come together, and everybody's getting their picture, the cover shoot. And it started at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. Now, I don't care what time things start the next day, I'm going to be up late, unless I'm really, really, really concerned. But I can tend to run off. I can go to bed at 2:30, get up at 5:30, and I'm good all day long.
Okay.
So, nothing that's good for me, but that's what, if I have to do it, I have to do it. I was thinking to myself, 7:30 in the morning on Saturday? Oh man, it's a responsibility. I need to do it, so on and so forth. When I tell you sis ran an efficient operation,
okay.
I texted her and I was like, yeah, I said, do you mind if I come already dressed for this? Because I'm gonna be in and out. Got in 2 makeup artists. Shout out Alicia Sade and Alicia Gregory of Underrated I intentionally don't work on Fridays or Saturdays except for when I choose to, which unfortunately is more than I should. But to get in somewhere and still have the rest of my Saturday, like I felt good, I looked good. I said, you know what? We're gonna keep this full beat on and throw in some cute little summer clothes and sit here. And I wasn't even really doing anything. Threw on some cute jeans, a cute top, chilled out at Brewers, talked to AJ, let the fellas on Whole Street walk by and get a glimpse.
Yeah.
You know how he
Feed them.
Yeah,
Sometimes they
sometimes
hungry,
you
they
gotta
starving.
feed the
Sometimes
fish.
you gotta feed them.
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta feed them.
And that was my weekend. It was dope.
Let them eat
It
it.
was chilled out. It was good. Good drinks, good flowers. Like,
That's a good time. That's a good feel.
yeah, when
I
you
love
really, truthfully, I think I'm in a stage of life, and I've been watching Mark and watching John. John, of course, has elevated the game because he got some years on, a few years on us to get it together, but he's showing a good example. And then, I watch Marcus with the yoga and the chilling out.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to tap
Yes.
into Steph B light. Because sometimes, I'm a Virgo. We can be alive. We can be real high strung.
Oh, I'm learning about that.
Oh yeah, we
Oh my
want to
God.
win all the time. Everything got to be perfect, and we got a million.
I get overthinking. Jeez.
Yeah, yes. So this weekend I didn't do any of that.
Yay,
I really
I'm proud
did.
of
I
you.
was just chilling out, and I got some good things in the work. Listen, I do want to say this while we're on air. If you have an interest, if you have a brand or business or a personality, say you have a lot of influence online, and you think that your brand is good enough for television, I want you to hit me. And I'll tell you, hit me at connect@stephaniebryant.com. If you think your brand is good enough for television, hit me up. Let's talk about it. That's the first part. And the second part is myself in conjunction with some gentlemen who own a streaming network that appears on Roku, Apple Television, as well as Amazon. We're looking for new talent, individuals that want to monetize their brand better, want to grow their audience, but really have something to say. And so Saturday, we're going to actually be doing a live Zoom call just for people to kind of hop on and get some information. And the big thing for me, you guys know how I am. I love to build a brand. I love to see people be successful. And so I have a connection that'll give you some opportunities for TV. And I'm happy to talk to anybody who wants to. It's connect@stephaniebryant.com. And then we'll get them to the next level.
I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping. I think I'm having some kind of issue.
I'm just saying. I just need a reminder.
Yes.
So, yeah, cool. It did invite me. Like, yeah, I did. I did.
Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J. live from.
Marcus, I feel like, is this gonna be a Jay Grizzy night?
It might be.
Corral it a little bit.
It might be, but you know what? That's a good thing. That's a good thing, and hopefully the folks will excuse me. I've been working through a technical issue that you guys didn't even know about, but I already fixed it. Yeah.
Listen, I always know if Marcus gets quiet while we're in this space, there's something happening over there that I don't want to or can't fix, and I'm so happy that he's doing it. And I will just twitter away on the mic.
Like, we engaged you. We good.
We got you.
Oh, I know.
We got you.
Well, I appreciate it. And this, Cooley was asked to be here for a very specific reason. That specific reason is I wanted to celebrate my birthday show with you, and obviously with Steph and everything. And Friday was my I mean, if I live, twice as long as I've lived now, then I'll live to be 96 years old. So Friday was my 48th birthday. And I feel good. The stuff that usually hurts still hurts.
That's not going
that ain't gonna change. But
You're not
I feel good. I went to New Jersey for my birthday for the first time in 8 years. I did my 40th birthday there, and then of course this past weekend, and Mama was my designated driver. And
that was hilarious.
Well,
that's when it's getting good.
Well, it's funny, Steph. I thought about you. I was on Ocean Avenue, and I was crossing. Let me see how it goes. Bayview, Bidwell, Wegman, Stegman. My town, and I can't remember the freaking streets. 30 years I've been gone. That's why. But I know that you have kin in that neighborhood, so that's why.
Lives in that neighborhood.
There you go. So I got a chance.
Jersey City to Brooklyn commuters.
Yeah.
Where they going far away?
They ain't
They're
going
literally
nowhere.
across
Literally, you know, it's funny when we were standing
the
in
Hudson.
Liberty Park and I was showing Mama the bridge, the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Bridge, you know, and she's like, that's Brooklyn. I said, yeah, that's Brooklyn,
Literally,
you know,
yeah.
right there,
You
and
could
that's
walk
Staten
over
Island.
Brooklyn from
You
Jersey
know,
City.
it's right there if if you could. So, you know, I got a chance to spend my birthday on Friday with my family, my mother, my father, my siblings, a couple of my nieces and
Yeah, Dad
nephews.
just had a birthday.
Pops turned 80 last month, you know, so that was cool. And then Saturday, I spent the day touring the town I grew up in. That's so different now than the way it was when I left there on August 11th, 1992. So it was a blessing, you know, with Mama being with me whenever she's with me on a road trip like that. It's always fun. It's always, you know, a cool time. She moves like I move, so I don't have to tell her much, you know, when it's ready, when it's time to let's get it. All I gotta do, she know how to get it, man. And it's just, you know, for her to be grown, she's 19, and so, you know, she's kind of morphed into like my friend and my sister and my daughter all at once. And
Y'all have a good
folks
relationship.
like trip off of that. They like, you should always be the parent. And then I say, you should always mind your business.
That's my favorite thing now.
Yeah.
You know, minding your business.
Mind your
It's
business,
free
man.
$99.
Mind your business. Cause see, here's the way I look at it, right? You know,
If I wanna take
yeah,
salt
salt and pepper, right?
none
You know,
of your
you know what I'm saying?
business.
And you know, and Apple Brown Betty said that's the sweet spot, and it's true. It really is because you know your daughter is an adult, Steph, so you can probably appreciate this. And Cooler, you'll get there soon. But here's the thing, and yes, Amanda is saying that we talking about her, by the way. Yes, we were talking about you. You know, it's like I have her mother and I. We have given her all that we can give her. You know what I'm saying? And I said to her yesterday, she said, Daddy, you and these analogies, you always tripping. I was like, yeah. I said, from birth to 18, we was paying the car note. But on your 18th birthday, we paid it off.
Yeah.
Now we have to take care of the car.
Yes.
You know,
That's a great
you know what I'm
analogy.
saying? Now we got to take care of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if it does break down, we'll deal with it. You know, but we was paying car note, and she was like, "Daddy, I can't with you with the analogies." I said, "Well, you're gonna have to because they, you know, always are there."
There's this interesting element of when you do have adult children, and mine are 24 and thanks, bro. 24 and my son turned 26 yesterday. And you know, I celebrate every year by taking a new selfie and being like, "Damn, you're fine." 26-year-old son, you're doing it, girl. But when I think about where they are, particularly my daughter, who's a little bit more verbal about things, you know, there's this thing that you have to understand about having adult children. The minute that you may know that they're grown-ish, right? That it's not as grown as you are.
Right.
But the minute they're outside of your scope of power, they can leave without you.
Mhm.
They can defy your opinion or your advice. They are truly their own people. There's no penalty for not listening. That is when you have to get smart enough to be able to communicate better with them, because they can easily be like, I just don't want to listen to you.
True. And just
Do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And they distance themselves. And then the problem becomes with that is they don't know how to come back when they need you.
Right.
So it is better to acknowledge that there's an element of this parenting game where they do look at you the way they look at everybody else. You are, yeah, your mom, but you're another person with an opinion. And I've been told to wait until I get here. Now I'm here. I want to do my own thing.
I get it.
So for me, it's like, all right, I know she's 24. I know that I only have so much control over this situation. I have about as much control over the situation as I do over you.
Right. True.
Really none. It's the influence.
Right.
And when you've been really good at building trust with your kid while they're growing up, it's one reason why I'm not a big on beating people. I've always been anti corporal punishment in a very specific sense. If my children see me put my hands on Kula, they have an understanding that I got to go to jail. That there are repercussions for that, and they know that Kula and I have a friendship. She's not my family in blood and spirit,
right?
But they know I have a friendship. And I'm saying I respect the friendship and the person and my life enough not to put my hands on her. But I comfortably put my hands on two people I burn. I don't like that. I don't like that lesson. to children that you're less important than a stranger on the street, because we all know that I'm not going to hit a stranger on the street on GP because I don't want the consequences.
Right.
But I can now, because I have some power in your life, exact physical control over you in a way that's not kind. My feeling has always been, if I can't get you to do what I need you to do or get you where you need to go without beating you, I need to check my parent skills. Anybody else, cool. Whatever you want to do is cool for you. But for my children, I recognize, they come from a pretty smart set of parents.
Yeah.
They're not dummies. So I think building that early created a level of trust where now at 24, when I don't have as much control over how she's living in Jersey City or Brooklyn, I have to trust that our relationship is enough that she'll want to tell me.
And that she'll
that's
do
what
right.
she'll get out of mama. I
Yep.
really believe
Let me
that.
give some love to our sister, Maisha Hawkins, just saying, hey, family, hey, wonderful, wonderful person and leader for us in our community. And I swear, some of the things, Maisha, let me give you some flowers right quick. I remember in the early days of Legacy Internet Radio, sitting in the den with you and having conversations with you and having an opportunity to learn from you. And I always took the lessons that you left with me, and I appreciated them. I still do. And I've watched you kind of parallel doing your thing while I've done mine. And I salute you, my sister. There are a lot of folks out here that's doing their thing, and there's so many. I wish I can give everybody love all at the same time. And some of the regulars who are here, how I feel about you, like Amanda. You know how I feel about you, Applebound Betty. But Maisha, I don't think I've had an opportunity to give you any of these flowers, publicly. And so kudos to you, my sister, and thank you for listening and watching and celebrating with us. And we appreciate your dopeness. Cousin Terry says my 25-year-old and almost 30-year-old will be quick to say I'm grown, and then the next breath say, "Mommy, I'm supposed to say to these people what when I talk to them."
Oh, I get those calls. What doctor do I need?
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah, yeah, man.
Because that's the other thing. For any of us who have not had that fallback plan,
Yeah.
I always really respected parents who gave their children an easy fallback plan and weren't just sitting around saying, "Nah, I had to go through it hard. They gonna."
Yeah,
Why?
I was never okay with people who felt that
why
way.
not give your children that feeling of, I don't know this.
Yeah.
Let me ask the person who is the most knowledgeable in my life. I truly believe my daughter will not ask somebody how to do something professionally or personally before she comes to me. And if I'm not available, it's got to be I'm not available.
Yeah,
for her to do it. So that's a dope thing. I don't mind when they call and ask those little questions.
You touched on some. I love Cooler to give her opinion about this. I'll go first and kind of set it up. But you mentioned as you were talking about how you didn't put your hands on your children, and that was your reasoning. Mama, of course, being my only. The reason why I didn't put my hands on her is because she would grow up to be a woman who I would never want. See, here's the thing with me and her. I am the model. I am the blueprint. I am what she will think of men as she grows up and determines what kind of man she likes. Now, she's either gonna like a man who shows her grace and love and care and tenderness. Child tenderness. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Trigger word. Sorry. Or she's gonna get used to a guy who puts his hands on her because he's displeased with her for whatever reason. So I didn't do the pop on the hand, anything like that. I did the why did you do that? Well, let's talk about it. I'm very disappointed in you. The mental shit.
Yes. It's hard for kids to deal with that. Like,
yes.
Oh shoot, he's
disappointed. You know what I'm saying? So Cooler, how do you feel about that? As in you have a son and a daughter.
Yeah, but I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
So my perspective is different because I'm still a bit stern with mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm molding impressionable minds right now. One's going through puberty, one's pre-puberty. I have a boy and a girl. Their fathers aren't around, so I'm a single parent. So, and I'm a multifaceted person as well. So
And the creator.
yeah, and
So you
and,
almost got to make sure your energy is
right.
Yeah.
I got a lot of duality going on, and I have to make sure everything is well balanced in order to take care of my household. So I do have resources um, for my son. A lot of men mentors around my son.
Mhm.
Like I don't hover over my son like that black mom hover. He knows I'm protective and I love him, but I'm
As
also,
you should be with any
right.
child.
But I'm also like, go on now, put your toe out there, try it. Don't already have a negative, you know, idea. This is going to be bad, or it could be good. We don't know. If you never tried, then yeah, it's 100% bad because you never tried. But if you tried, then you will know it was good or bad. You'll know the answer. So I do push my kids out a little bit. I would like to see an effort before you come. And like, Mom,
That's it.
but I want to see that you try to figure it out. And then now we can come together with, okay, what did you do? Okay.
Yeah.
You should have did that instead. So now next time you go back, do that differently, bang, bang, bang. And then it'll get done. So I'm a little bit I'm not even gonna
But I
front.
think
I'm
that's
the
a little
stern
bit
front man.
different. I mean, because I'm pretty stern. I
Mhm.
think the kid's dad was he was more of the disciplinarian he was a big dude, 6'4", 280. That if he comes walking in, the kids know, oh, don't, I hope she don't tell that. Just a look was enough.
Mhm.
But we were very stern in the sense that we were young parents. And I had the understanding that people were going to immediately judge my children by my age. At the time my son was born, I hadn't turned 20 yet.
But see, I'm an older parent.
Mm-hmm. And so
You
for
know what
me,
I'm
the
saying?
sternness was people think that every young parent is letting their kids run wild and crazy. So I really wanted to be, I can look at you and you know the deal. But also, I knew I was going to be a young empty nester. Like by the time I would be 38,
Mhm.
they would be gone. And my big thing was, I don't like codependent people who are codependent simply because they haven't been trained to be independent.
Right.
So I was always one of those. I have a career, I run a business. Their dad had a career, his own interests. We had each other.
You make a very good point about
Gotta
being
force some
being a
things.
young parent. And Cooley, you mentioned how you were older. Let me get this comment in, and I want you to expand. I want you to expand on that. The legal, our sister, Tamika Robinson. She says, "I still call my mommy. I was sick as hell the other day. I called mommy first for things to feel better. Everything's better when mom touches it first. So that's just what it is. But what you mentioned
Shout out to today. Today's my mother's birthday.
today's
So
your
yesterday
mom's
was
birthday.
my son, and today my mother who passed away some years ago. Today is her birthday. I just surrounded by Gemini energy. My favorite
Yeah,
uncle,
yeah,
one of my favorite brothers over here.
yeah.
My son, I married one. I birthed one. I
Yeah.
was birthed by one. I
Gemini's.
dated one for a long time. These Geminis, I don't know.
Gemini energy. I mean,
It's hard for
you
Virgos
don't.
to
She don't know
date
what she gonna do. That's true. As
We're so
Gemini's,
structured, and you guys, oh Lord.
it's something to say about us Gemini's. I know I definitely had a split personality. The bad side you guys don't often see, but he's out there. He's out there somewhere. Yeah. Cooler, you mentioned it as an older parent, your challenge is a little bit different. Talk to us a little bit about that. The difference between Steph's experience as a mom with basically two adults, and our age difference is not that much different.
Yeah, it really
And
is.
so but the experience as mothers is different. So she
When
shared
was your
hers.
youngest born?
35.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you were a parent who had maturity in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Talk
So
to
I
us.
got all that out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got it all out. I got all my selfish stuff out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when are you gonna get your life together? I don't need to. I don't got no kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just me. I
right.
can do whatever. You just mad. You low key mad. But I mean,
That is true. A lot of people will be like
I'm just
that.
like doing me. And it was weird to be, okay, so I'm born in 73. So it was weird to be 30-ish and no kids.
I think culturally people make it weird.
Right. And this was before, the whole Issa Rae and
Mhm.
then it's cool to just make these short. This is before that. It was just like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. I
And
just
we-
don't
we're Gen X. So a lot of
Right.
Gen X started having kids like right out of high school.
Yeah.
Or even getting married.
Right.
You know.
A lot of my friends, 16, 17, 18, had kids.
And see, now
already.
here, I feel like I was old. I was a week shy of 29.
I mean, culturally, based on when we were
that's
born,
kinda
based on
And
we're all Gen X, that is older. If you look right after that, millennials, they're now in that space where they're having children later.
Right. My second was 38.
just 38.
Yeah, so it's, and then I was like, all right, I'm done.
And
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah, let me
breaking
stay.
down those lies about maternal
Yeah,
pregnancies.
I'm done. I'm done. Thank you guys.
I'm good.
Be careful what you
They
pray
healthy,
for.
they good.
You ain't say when you wanted them. You just said you wanted them.
Yeah,
Like, all right,
yeah,
you slid.
yeah.
So yeah, after
Guys are
38, I was
dude.
like,
Yeah.
I ain't trying
But
to
you're
press
right.
my luck.
It probably gave you a very different perspective because you'd already worked out the kinks of who
But
you
it
are
was
as an
like-
individual.
It has actually helped me in my everything else. Is
Mhm.
having youth, that youthful energy around me has helped me be able to stay more current in other facets.
Yeah.
Like is actually gave me a mutant power because like I don't give off the auntie vibe all the time, but at the same time it's like perpetuated me and work as far as being able to know the software, know the slang,
Yes.
be able to be able to have a leadership moment with a millennial.
Yeah.
And they were like, how you know that? I got young kids. I'm here.
But that's also that generational thing. Because if you think about it, anybody who graduated high school during the later 80s to mid 90s, right? You were going to school, off to college, and AOL chat rooms existed already, right? And we all we are the beginning of tech. So there's not a whole lot where we're falling off in that way. And yes, it does keep you young when you have young kids around. But then I think that you see that in a lot of Gen X's. Because I was saying that the other day. I was like, I'm very direct about things, but I haven't earned the auntie designation yet because I'm sometimes that's just not where I am.
I'm embracing auntie.
But I love
Yeah.
being
I'm
the
embracing
person that my
auntie.
younger friends come to for advice.
It's
Like my girlfriend Brittany will say, she'll be talking with her real friends because I say when I'm 45, she's 32.
auntie.
So
Yeah.
she'll talk to all her friends and then she'll say, what do you think about this? I got to ask a real adult. I love that.
I
because
enjoy
she
that too.
knows that while I'm cool,
Not a real adult.
I enjoy
she
that.
knows I'm a real adult.
I enjoy that. I guess from the man's perspective, I found in the last few years, folks started to call me Big Bruh.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big guy.
They don't say
And so
on the
it's
other
it's
side.
it's
I mean,
always
OG.
kind of fun for me when they
Go to
say
these
it.
ciphers and stuff,
They
what's up,
and
OG?
I know that it's a respect thing
I'm like,
because that's what I do. I got like John, I call him Big Bruh. He doesn't care much for that, and so I try to not say it very often.
oh, he doesn't like
He
it?
did.
It's the
He,
big bro.
but for,
though.
for me, he's got because he's the same age as my legitimate older brother. He's 6 months older than my older brother. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who's been around me knows how I feel about I got to hold
Yes.
my older brother in my arms the other day and give him a big hug. Like, so how I feel about an elder. So for when I have those folks refer to me as big bro, I'm like, word, I respect that because I know I got shit to say.
Yes.
And there's a time to be humble with it, which is most of the time.
Yes.
But then there's a time for me to just keep it funky. Like I know some
Yeah,
stuff.
don't overlook this.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
it might look hip
I,
or look
I
young
know some
or-
stuff. Like I know I look young. I'll give you guys a perfect example. Y'all gonna love this. Cool, you're gonna love this, right?
Okay.
So I'm with Mama a couple of weeks ago at a family event in Maryland. Not this trip, but a different trip. And anybody's ever seen me and Mama know that she and I are very physically affectionate with each other. We just are. I hold her hand, she holds my hand. We always hugging on each other and stuff. It's been that way since the first time I kissed her when she came from the womb, right? So I have my arm around and we're talking, and a sister comes out. She's an elder, and she looks at me and Mom, and she goes, and we don't know her. We don't know her, and she's like, "Oh, y'all so cute. How long y'all been married?" Ah.
That's happened to me.
Yeah.
My son and I went on a mom and daughter,
Yeah.
mom and son lunch one day when he had come back from the Air Force, and somebody came and just gave him, like, didn't ask us, are we, separate checks or what? Gave him the check and like, Y'all look like y'all had a really good day.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
He was
Now, how do you
like,
feel as mom? I love it as
you
dad.
know, I'm 45 and I feel like I'm doing 45 well. I'll be
Yes,
46.
yes.
Yo, I'm
And
closer
so
to
I'm
50
like,
than I am to
yeah.
45.
And so I guess I
Oh
feel
yeah, I'm
like
definitely.
I look at my friends. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here with two people I would consider friends, and I'm like,
Yeah, we friends.
black people of a certain age are just dope, and then I spend, had lunch today with somebody who is, everybody will say auntie level. I was with Michelle.
Uh-huh. She's definitely auntie
And
level.
and,
Yeah.
That's
and
here.
but
Yeah.
when you have conversations
I
with her,
got to see her
you
today, by
know,
the way, and
you know,
it made me happy.
you know that
Yeah.
there was always that more mature chick in the community, like maybe when you were 17, 18, this person was 30, and that seemed more mature,
Yeah.
but they just had this vibe.
But
In
yeah.
Brooklyn there was this lady like that on the block, and I was a lot younger, like 8 or 9, but the kids who are much older than me, like teenage age, they would always go over to her brownstone and hang out because she was about 30. She had locks. She always smelled like honey and patchouli. The
Yeah.
young boys
Yeah.
all had crushes
Yeah.
on her.
She
And
was Erica
she
Badu.
was
Right. Right.
dope advice. When I talk to Michelle, I don't think about the fact that, I'm like, she's giving me auntie wisdom, but there's still that dopeness there.
Yeah.
I just think that's what black people do. I think there's this element of growth culturally where we just never lose the edge of cool if we were cool at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
You can see the you can see some people culturally just lose that edge of cool.
You know what I
Doesn't
think is
happen.
really cool about you, Cooler? Let me read this comment and then I'm going to tell you what's really cool about you based on the comment that Steph just gave us. Cousin Terry says she birthed her first child at 22, 23. Would have waited to have her first at 30 if she could. Had made a choice. Sty Lynch is checking in, says 100. Shout out to you and thank you, Sty, for rocking with us. Here's what I will say about you. Oh, solid.
Like
Pe-
he's like that in the community.
my man,
So he's the big bruh in the hip
big
hop
bruh.
community.
That's dope.
Yeah. So we come to style like that. Be like, yeah, he and I are close in age, but I still see myself in the infancy in hip hop in the city, where style he grown in the
Yeah,
city.
yeah,
So yeah, we might be in the same age, but experience
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
I'm childlike compared to style.
And
Well, I'm
you know
glad you.
what? That's dope to even acknowledge that,
Yeah.
because that's a level of humility everybody should have.
Right.
Like, I'm not
Absolutely.
mature enough in that game yet
Right.
to ignore the people who are.
And I'm
You
actually
know?
glad that you made that point, because going back to what you were saying and then piggybacking on what was just said, and thank you, Style, for rocking with us. Cool. I wanted to bring you into this comment where you talk about kind of what Steph is talking about with regards to just being not so much auntie, but kind of a mentor. As a hip hop artist,
Mm-hmm.
in our age group.
Right.
That's the elephant in the room with regards to hip hop. Because it is generally looked at as a young person's sport. We aren't young people in the sense of chronologically, maybe in spirit. You certainly don't strike me as someone of our age and spirit, but then most would say the same to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So having said that being my backdrop, having said that, how is it for you, being someone in our general age group, being a woman in hip hop? That's another elephant in the room. We were talking about that, you and I, earlier, as we were listening to hip hop earlier, kind of getting, ready to do the show, and we were listening to some folks. Talk to us, talk to them a little bit about your experience in the game, because I called you the hardest working woman in this town, or person,
Mm-hmm.
hardest working
No,
person
you
in
can
this
say that.
town, because, well, I want to say person because it doesn't matter.
It
Like
does. I
that.
mean,
That's
whatever
kind of
word
where I'm
you
going.
know,
That,
right?
I'm long winded sometimes. I tell long ass stories, and I wish I can sometimes just get to the point. And that's my
Person just
that's
makes it
not my
seem like
gift
I'm not gonna
sometimes. But
understand.
talk to me, talk to us, talk to them about your position. Excuse me, in the game, and how you function as someone our age, but you just don't feel like that to me.
Okay, so I guess it's just the drive. It's the want. It fuels that, and so it's literally staying true to who you are. My age is my superpower, because yeah, I was born when hip hop was born. Hip hop was born in 73. I was born in 73. So I have the foundation to talk about everything that is hip hop. So with that being said, if you see the state of hip hop and you complain about it, then you're like you're kind of going against what everything hip hop is about. So with the state of hip hop, it's like, okay, I can't complain. I'll just do something about it, create my own lane, which is what hip hop is, creating your own lane. I know my lane is out there, my niche is out there. I'm speaking to a certain particular demographic, and then it'll, go sub demographics off that. I'll spread out, but there's a target, and there's a missing link in it. I'm like I said, I'm not a hot girl summer. I'm a lukewarm fall. I'm not, what I'm saying? I'm not the only lukewarm fall out there. And I'm not the only one that wants to hear lukewarm fall music. So, with that being said, I use the age to my advantage business wise. Because, yeah, you might got the trap, you might got the followers, but you ain't got the talk game like me. I have the talk game. I know how to go to a promoter and talk. I know how to go to a venue owner and talk. I know how to learn and put things into action and be intentional. Yeah, you young and you got 10K followers, but do you know how to book yourself? Do you know your music management? Do you know your business side? Do you know how to promote yourself and get gigs? I know that part because of my age, because of my life experience. Now, game wise, as far as hip hop, I know the foundation of hip hop, that'll never go away. I know what music is about, that'll never go away. But now I'm not selling out the trunk of my car on the corner. Now it's digital. So now my second mutant power, my children, they keep me current on the digital.
Yeah.
So I learn from them, and then I bridge a communication gap with my children as far as how to talk to them and how to change my narrative, because my mom was not the parent that I am. I'm not my mom. I'm a new parent. I'm not my mom when she was in the 70s working 2 jobs and going to school. That was a whole different dynamic. So I can't expect me to be the same as she was because I'm in a different dynamic. And I'm not going to expect my daughter when she becomes a mother to be the same thing I am
As
now
you.
because she's going to be in a new different dynamic. So as I'm adapting digitally, I have to adapt parentally.
Yeah.
So that's what's keeping me youthful and vibrant, regardless of how old I am. I'm still sticking to my niche. I can see if I was out here trying to do hot girl shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They be like, cool, girl, damn way, girl, you need to stop. No, I have a sweater on.
Yeah.
I have a sweater.
I would say
that a lot. You cannot hit any game.
You have
Not
to
just
stay
hip
true to
hop.
yourself, man.
There are certain things you just can't get away with past a certain age without it looking silly.
Yeah.
Right. And so shout out to the Megans of the world and
Right.
the Lottos
Do
of
you,
the
boo?
world. They're there. You know, they would have been too young for freak.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Kim
We-
bodied
Yeah.
y'all already.
You know,
Like,
I
okay.
appreciate that part of the conversation because as a dad, as a 48-year-old dad, it has taken me self-reflection to be able to appreciate my daughter, Cardi B, my daughter, Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? I'm of the age where they are my daughters.
Right.
Whereas when I cut my
It
teeth,
don't matter as much about that.
right? Well, like when I started listening to hip hop, and I'm born in '74, so I'm right there with you. And I remember Millie Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And some wouldn't refer to her as a hip hop artist, but then there are others who say that she's the first.
Lil' Kim, right?
And so I remember them and such, and I remember going through it when I saw Cardi first and Kim and Megan. Some reason didn't have a problem with Lil Kim and Foxy because I'm same age as them. But as I got older and I saw Cardi and Megan kind of doing the same thing, and I guess Nicki was the bridge. I had to let that go as a dad. And it's a strange kind of thing because you got to check yourself. You got to look in the mirror and you got to say, bruh, when she had that album cover in 1996 where she was in the yogi squat, You know what I'm saying? You know, and a lot of cats my age had to poster on the wall.
Yeah.
Why you got heat with Megan?
Right.
You know what
You
I'm
know
saying? So
why?
I
I'm
had
gonna
to
tell you
I
why.
had to, well I had to
No, I'm gonna tell you
I
why.
had to check I had to check my. So let me get these comments in, and then I want you to tell us, Cooler. Style Lynch says my age is my superpower. Is in quotes perfectly said. That talk game is real, and I can dig that. Respect to Cooler. She does go hard. So proud of you, Cooler. This is what our sister Valerie Robinson McAllister is saying, and so much love for you, and appreciate the work you are doing. Cooler, I'm almost ready for you. Hold tight. Michelle says it was good to see me as well. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate you. Look, I can't wait to actually sit down and hang out with you. So that's a whole nother thing because I know how much this one here loves you. That means I love you because if she loves you, I love you too. One of my favorite people,
A lot of I don't have any blood family
but
here,
that's fam.
but that's family. She
One
always treats me like family.
one of my favorite people in the history of my life doing radio is checking in right now. And I remember the moment that I met him. And I remember 2 days later he came to the station. I met him on Browns Island the night that we met Grandmaster Flash. We was out there. I'm gonna tell a quick story and then we'll get back to the show. We met Grandmaster Flash. I was there with Big Bro Joe doing security. He's always had me doing security. That's another story for another day. But I met this man and I was talking to him and we had a conversation and I listen to your show all the time. I said, man, you should come, you should come, you should come. You know how I do. You should come, you should come, you should come. Saturday night. Monday he came and he became a part of the show. He became one of the co-hosts of the show and he stayed with us for a long time until life and situations caused him to not be a regular contributor. But he's listening now. He had dealt with some health issues. He's on his way back. I'm so glad to see my brother, Mr. 3375, checking us in. Jeff, thank you, brother. I love you. I love you. I love you, brother. Thank you for listening and watching. And thank you for being here and being healthy and being able to listen and watch, brother. I needed to give you those flowers. It was in my spirit. Yeah. Stylish is saying, love you to life, Cooler. You're a rare gem in Richmond hip hop, which is the absolute truth. Cooler, I cut you off to give those salutations, but I do have one more. So I need you to just kind of follow me and Steph's lead on this one. Big Sis is checking us out. She said good morning to us, as we do at this morning, at this time. We always look into the camera when we check in with her, and we say, good morning, Sue. Yeah, you know how stuff Marcus J. I cut you off. Hopefully, I didn't make you lose your choo-choo / train of thought. Cooler, yeah. Come on, riding train. Come on, riding. Yeah, come on, riding train. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm saying why it seems as if Megan and Cardi does the most compared to Little Kim and Foxy. Okay. It seems as if we're seeing more gun violence now as if we did 30, 40 years ago. And it's all about exposure. There were underground Little Kims and Little Foxies all over the United States, but there was no social media. There was no internet. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook. There was no outlet for them to be seen. They got saw in the little juke joints in the little hood cities, where they stripped or whatever. They did not get seen outwardly. So there was a plethora of Little Kims and little Foxies. But outwardly, scene wise, like industry wise, the standard, you got one or two. That was enough back then.
Yeah.
But now, fast forward now, you can see these broads all the time. Not just the Cardis, not just the Megans, not just the Dojas, not just the City Girls, not just the strappers, it's like everywhere. Bing, 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 bing. So it's like overstimulation. So it gives us the perspective and the point of view as if we're being overwhelmed with it and they're just doing the most when honestly it's just the commercials just being seen more than normal. Back in the day the commercials weren't seen as much. The commercials just being seen so much that it gives us this idea that they're shoving it down our throat and that girls are being overly promiscuous or overly sensual or overly sexual. This has just always been. It's always been like this.
Hey, know how Steppin, Marcus J, live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. As I do at this stage of the show every single week, I always say something really corny. Steph knows where I'm going. I'm hearkening back to KRS-One in 1990, as he always says. Let us move on. Yeah. I want to get to some of the topics that we're going to talk about in the show. I just love so much how we can ad lib some things because we have, we just got a dope group here, man. I ain't gonna belabor it. We just dope as hell. But I do want to move on. I want to talk about some other stuff. So I'm gonna play a clip. I'm not going to set up the clip. I'm just going to play the clip. The clip is about a situation that all of us know about. We have been talking about this since the Oscars. There was your hint. We are going to talk about this now, and I just want to get everybody's perspective on this because uh, this is the first time that there has been any comments on this. So let's get it.
Jada Pinkett Smith, who's talking at length about the Oscars incident in March when her husband, that's Will Smith, slapped Chris Rock. Listen to her on her show, Red Table Talk.
My deepest hope is that these two intelligent, capable men have an opportunity to heal, talk this out, and reconcile. The state of the world today, we need them both.
Pinkett Smith used yesterday's show to teach viewers about alopecia. That is the condition that caused her hair loss. She didn't say much. I mean,
yeah, I felt like she could have said more. At least I was looking for more because I wanted to know how she felt about what happened in the moment, what they're doing from here to heal from that moment. But I can't speak for her.
I'm waiting for we need more information. I mean, not that there's not a lot of things going on in the world that require our attention, but if you're going to say something, say a little more. Say the whole thing.
Yeah.
TNT Radio. So obviously we played that clip to kind of get Jada Pinkett's comment about what went on with the slap, and many folks were waiting a long time to hear her talk about it. Our sister Vivica Fox kind of went in an emotional manner with regards to that. Steph, I want you to jump in here and talk about it. I want you to talk about her sister, Vivica Fox. I want you to talk about what we all saw, how she responded to the clip that we just saw, and then I want us to respond to the clip that we just saw. Basically, Jada Pinkett on her Red Table Talk show talked about how we need both Will and Chris, but it doesn't appear that she said much more than that. And there are a lot of people who were expecting her to do so. Lead us off. We're going to talk about it. What you got?
This is one of those things where you can't win, right? Jada on some levels is a divisive figure right now. People have been looking for a reason to continue to be mad at her since the August Alsina thing. I don't care what anybody says. Black folk can make 1,000,001 babies and still be prudes about sex. So they don't understand the situation with August. In their mind, she was cheating. These two married people have come forward and said it wasn't an affair, that they were both outside of the space of their marriage. This was something they agree with. So I'm just prefacing it by saying, I don't think Jada can win with a certain audience. It's just not going to happen. That's my belief. Now, where I think it might have gone off track, this is a big enough situation where people want to hear your opinion. And if your opinion is one where you state it and you almost act like you just were somewhere else watching it, you weren't present, you weren't a part of it, immediately you get people who are like, they wanted more. We want salacious. I don't care what anybody says. You're like, oh, I'm not with the drama. I don't like the drama. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The reason people feel some kind of way is because she didn't say more. And the say more opportunity will give you an opportunity to say more. So you do like the drama. You like it. You just don't like when you're involved with it. So it really puts Jada in a bad space. I think a good thing for her would have kind of been a step away from it. Wait until Will was able to come to the table. Then y'all all can do your thing. You two can have a conversation. I think it would have been a healthier, since you are a public figure, Jada. That's how I see it.
Right.
Since she's a public figure and you're making the statement anyway, hold off, wait till Will is present, and then you may not get the response you got. Now, I think Vivica jumped in a lane.
Yeah, that wasn't correct.
She got in the HOV lane
Okay.
with a party of one in a Toyota Corolla.
Not the Rodney King.
When
Not the Rodney King.
Will and Jada are over there
White
driving
Bronco.
a Tesla. And I also think you ain't about this life. You were in Set It Off. You ain't really gonna set it off. So these two people you've done business with, both of them have, and I'm not being funny, but it matters in the Hollywood space. Your B-list in comparison to their A-list. It is what it is. It is what it is. She, Vivica's showing up on Fox, on Fox Network, game shows in the middle of the day.
Shut up.
You gotta know your lane. So
She said,
when
I could drive fast too.
I mean, and I probably wouldn't go so hard, except you're disloyal. And I don't have a lot of room for people who are disloyal. You cannot out one side of your mouth be like, I love these two people. They are like family to me. I've watched their children grow up, and blah, blah, blah. And then jump in there and say, and Jada wasn't accountable as a partner. Especially when you dated 50 Cent. Everything that was said and done, you never made real statements about. So we could say you were not accountable as a woman dating a man who's viewed as toxic.
Did you see in the clip with Vivica how she was so chalked up that she wasn't?
Choked up.
She
That
was.
was a lie.
She was.
Let me
She.
tell you,
She looked like she was on
Right
the
now.
No.
flavor level.
Can I do it?
It was such a lie.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
Oh, this is difficult for me.
This is difficult
No,
for
it
me.
wasn't.
Like, come on,
No, because
man.
let me tell you something. When something is difficult for you and it involves people that you love, and you know you're being seen by a live audience, millions of people, and then the two people you're talking about, if this is difficult, you learn how to edit yourself. I feel like if Vivica was a rapper, she tried to get 18 bars into 16 bars of space and still didn't say shit. Why did you jump in here and talk about Jada and what kind of partner she's being? First of all, you don't know their relationship. Everybody speculates. Everybody wants to. She should have done this, and you don't know what that man said to his wife before he left for the day. Babe, I know you're doing red table talk. Let's not do That might be her accountability to her partner. She don't owe any of us anything.
Not a thing.
Not any of us. And when I see somebody, especially I hate when people use faux or pseudo sisterhood and hide behind it. I hate when somebody gets on there like, that's my sister. I really hate this. And then you beat up on them.
But
you meant every word of what you said.
I love you, but
you sound real salty.
Yeah.
You sound like because the check never got as big as it could post Set It Off that you got issues.
Yeah.
And to say it, and here's the more interesting part. She says it, you know how your grandparents say what we talk about in mixed company. So you said this in mixed company about a black woman and her relationship to her black ass husband. And then
her black ass.
Yeah, because she's not for nothing, but there's not a whole lot of black and black love that they're demonstrating and exhibiting in Hollywood. I don't care what you think about it. Somehow these two people have found a way to continue what they're doing.
Yeah.
You may not like how it looks. And so for you to say all these things about how much you love them and then get all choked up and then say she wasn't accountable as a partner, you don't know what her partner asked her for.
I got mixed feelings on this.
How can you argue with an actor?
I got
it's so fake though. It's
okay, real quick.
No, jump in.
Like they at home argue, right?
Oh yeah.
But they're both actors.
How do you know this is
how
real?
do you know they're acting or like
Well,
dead ass arguing?
You have hurt my feelings.
Like how do you know? Like, what if they could just go into like how do you really know it's authentic when you arguing with
all right, so here
you know how it's it's authentic? The divorce rate.
All right, so here's what I
They're
want
not
to
at
do.
home faking it,
Here's,
clearly.
here's what I want to do, right? I want to make my comment and then I want to throw a grenade in here, okay? I'm gonna make my comment and then I'm gonna throw a grenade, okay? So here's my comment. My comment is, you know, I would have loved to see more from Jada. Vivica, I'm unmoved by it because I don't expect anything from her or anybody else to say anything, and with I like to lead with respect, and that's my way of softening the shade, but fuck that. That was whack to me. It was whack to me for her to say that. It was whack for her to be in the position that she was in, to feel like she needed to say anything. Who knows if she said it to Jada or not? I suppose it doesn't necessarily matter for
I
the
highly doubt
purposes
she did.
to this. But I think when we see folks trying to get a pop for their career off of throwing shade at other folks, I got issues with them. Now, I was clear at the time, and I'll say now before I throw a grenade that I always felt from the very beginning of us seeing this that this could have all been avoided if Jada would have put her hand on Will's hand and said, "No, baby,
Don't do it.
no, baby, no, baby," because as a man, uh, as the only man in the room, what up, John? I understand what it's like for my lady to keep me from burning a
She would
motherfucker
have lost
down.
that too, though. They
You
would
know
have
what I'm
ate her
saying?
up off that too.
Well, but
They
see,
would.
here's
She
but
couldn't
here,
have
I
but
don't
won.
here,
feel like she
but
should
here,
win.
but here's
No,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
'cause
Hold
then
on,
they'd be like, "Ooh,
hold on,
look,
hold,
you a
hold,
pussy."
She
hold on,
de-emasculates
hold
him.
on, hold on. Let me finish this
She would have
point.
won.
Or
Let me finish this point. As a man, I can speak to how, as a lion, a woman can calm you, the right one at the right time in the right situation. And I will not be convinced otherwise that if she would have put her hand on his in that moment, she would have avoided, we would have avoided all of this because he would have listened to her.
We
All
would
he
have
had,
avoided all of that.
all she had to do is nope, no, 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 because he would have listened, he would have deferred to her. So anyway, whether I agree, whether you guys agree with me or not,
I don't disagree that he may
That's the
have
right thing to do.
chosen a different path. I don't even
and I'm not blaming
disagree
her.
that it would have been
So,
a smart thing
well,
for her to do.
let me just be clear and finish this point before I throw the grenade. And it ain't my grenade. A listener threw this grenade. Um, I'm not blaming her in any way. I think that she has zero obligation here because she ain't slapped nobody.
Right. True.
So it's not up to her to have diffused any of this. I don't blame her at all. Let me just be clear on that. My statement is yes, she could have diffused it, but it is not her fault because he's the one that got out of his chair on national TV and slapped his brother in front of everybody and destroyed his own career.
Yes.
That's on him. So couple of comments and then the grenade. Maisha, thank you so much. I know what you've done for us. Maisha sowed a seed for us, and we appreciate you. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Appreciate you more than you know. The divine energy is powerful. She's saying. I can dig that. So here's her grenade. Our brother Ronaldo is checking us out. He's listening. He's a longtime listener and supporter of the show. Much love, and we appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Ronaldo says there's no group more shady to each other than women. There's the grenade. I thought it was grenade. Maybe
How do men
based
think
on
they always know so
based
much
on the
about
looks
what
on
women
your
are doing?
faces. I don't know if you agree or you disagree,
I don't.
but that's what it was. That's what it
There's
was
no
said.
group killing each other more than black
But
men.
I would
Come on now.
love to hear your comment. I'm gonna read Miss Valerie's comment.
Men gossip more than women.
Hold on. I'm gonna read Miss Valerie's comment, and then I want y'all both to address what he said. Valerie says, agree, Marcus. That's our power. I'm sure that there have been times when she's operated in that power. However, I still wonder what Will was trying to prove, and that's a very, very honest and interesting response to that. So anyway, there is no more group more shady to each other than women. That's what Ronaldo says. Cooler, you up first on this one. What's your
I
thoughts?
don't agree with that. I just agree. people have preferences. You can choose who you want to rock with and who you don't want to rock with. You, as a woman, I'm not obligated to rock with every black woman I come in contact with. I'm obligated to rock with people that feed me positively, male or female. You know what I'm saying? Whatever race. Now, do I want to stay homegrown? Yeah, I would prefer to stay homegrown and get that vibe, but still, I don't have to befriend every black woman I come across. I don't have to work with them.
No.
I don't have to. I choose to based off of vibe, based off of business ethic, work experience. Sometimes we get around certain people and I'm like, oh, you know her? So that made I gotta fall back a little bit, and it's not even shady.
It's not shade. That's judgment.
It's judgment, and
I
it's
gotta
me
make good
protecting
judgment.
my energy. You rock with someone I don't rock with. Do you need to know why I don't rock with them?
No.
You don't.
No,
you don't need to know. Just know that my energy and their energy don't rock. So to keep you from being in an awkward place, I'm just gonna fall back a little bit. And it's not like Cooler being funny. No, Cooler's being honest to Cooler. And when people start to understand, male and female included, when people start to understand, you don't have to feel obligated to be around anybody. You be around what makes you feel good, what feeds you the most positive, supportive, and encouraging vibes. Because we don't have much time here. You know what I'm saying? So why be around people that you have to question, or you don't follow that inner, like, something about this bitch I just don't like. And it's okay to be like, I don't know what it is about that person, but I just don't rock with them. And that's just you being in tune with your intuition. It might come out later. They do something, be like, see, I knew that. I knew it was something about that. You know what I'm saying? And then you feel confirmed that you followed your gut. And to be honest, you don't owe anybody that explanation. So to say women are the shadiest to each other, I find that like kind of like nah.
No.
And are you a woman?
And also,
are you a
I'm a
woman?
lady.
Have you been in circles of women and talk vernacular like another woman?
Yeah.
Have you been in a setting where we talk shit about men? Have you been with a man? Because in order for you to have that statement
so firmly,
yes, you was dead ass too. You was like, in order for you to have that grenade that we just threw out, you must have done some Wayans Brothers white chick shit, and you have been immersed in women shit in order to say, yeah, women are shadier than men. So yeah,
or women are hella shady to each other.
hella shady to each other. No, we just
Steph, before you jump in here,
Preferential.
I got a couple of comments in. Yeah. Let me I was saying speak into it. I'm sorry.
I was on radio for a minute.
See, yeah, we get excited. yeah. You know, what I love about transparency, man. Don't you love it? Hey, look, I try to push her hand to speaking to the mic, because she got excited, But then we had nonverbal that I was gonna go to a comment, so we got confused for a minute. We didn't know what we were doing. So, and I love the transparency. All right, so let me get a couple of comments in, but then I absolutely, Steph, want you to jump in here. Tamika Robinson, our resident legal, and I just like saying that she is top 40 under 40. Yeah, top 40 under 40. We're gonna celebrate you until the end of days, man, because you are so awesome. And and when I get in trouble, I'm calling you. Yeah. So she says, why is it that non-women always telling us about how to treat each other? She said non-women, right? Like
we're gonna keep it PC.
I don't politically correctly, I'm not even sure how to respond to that.
She's doing it right.
Yeah, and then you know what I'm saying, non-women. Yeah, I mean, they're like, who is that? Just us dudes, or is it more than us dudes? I don't know. And then whoever ain't a woman. And then she continues, women are actually more supportive of each other in a myriad of ways, and we don't have to be friends to do it. Cousin Terry says, speak.
Baby daddy drop off kids situation is real.
Cousin Terry says, speak. Sue says it's about the vibes. is not flowing, if it's not flowing right, I can't enjoy the moment. And then Michelle says women are more supportive of each other than we get credit for. Real grown women have no need to break down and shade in other women. We have opinions, we gauge, we fall back, we engage, we fall back when needed. And then Ronaldo follows up on his comment. Hey man, hey, he follows up on his comment. I look, I respect the brother. We're gonna respect the brother. Even if we don't agree with him. He says, I've been around enough women who call themselves friends, sister girls, and even sorority sisters who I've witnessed be shady as hell to each other, as if to say that men don't do the same shit. But come on, bro.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Come
put a
on,
little
bro.
season on
I could come and get you there, but I'm gonna let them come and get you on it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
There you go.
Come on, bro. Don't do that, bro.
I'm your method man to your man right
I'm
now.
feeling it.
Yo, did you do that? That's why I love her.
And I'm like,
yeah, come on.
I feel like I need a cake. I just need you behind me doing the
You remember the verses for 2021?
Come on now.
Yeah.
But a sister who does love other sisters would see it on
Yo, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yes.
All right.
Listen.
Come on, Steph.
So this is an interesting thing. You know, men love to tell women not to speak on men's topics and blah, 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 and this and that. The fact of the matter is, I'm just going to break this down. There are plenty of men who call themselves friends, and the minute a man breaks up with a woman, they're in the DMs. Trust me, I know this. I know brothers that are in fraternal organizations and were in my DMs the minute a relationship ended. I know brothers who were playing sports with a brother I'm dealing with, and the minute that's done, you're in my DM. Come on, people are people.
Human
behavior is what human behavior is. Let's be real. And I said this last week. FBI did not track black woman on black woman crime statistics until recently, because they were so low. And I'm talking about from a death rate, a murder rate. They were so low, they were irrelevant. There was nothing really to talk about. But there was a statistic that everybody was tracking, even mothers in the hood. So if we were talking about shade, what kind of shade are you brothers creating that's making you kill one another?
Well, he said, I never said once men ain't shady to each other. But right now we talking about women.
We talking about, but you know what? Sometimes you need to sit in the right part of the train, bruh, because there's no seat for you in this space. And not because you don't get an opinion, but because you made such an emphatic opinion that almost that takes everyone else out of it. And when you say women are so shady to one another, you're not hopping in there to say people are shady. Right. It's really hard to watch how women are, or so on and so forth. This situation with Jada and Vivica is not about shade. Vivica has an opinion that a lot of people have about Jada. Jada's not a likable figure right now. One of the reasons Jada is not a likable figure right now is because we live in a society that idolizes patriarchy. And the minute they found out that she was sexually free, immediately it must be emasculation of a black man. Right. It must be that she doesn't respect that black man, so on and so forth. Even though that brother said we have both had our own things. Jada, my issue with Vivica is not that she's being shady to Jada, is that you're commenting on something that you didn't have any business commenting on, and you call these people your friends. Right. And she didn't just call Jada her friend, she called Will. So the fact is, if she was being shady to both people. Mm-hmm. There is a perception to his comment. There is a very comfortable thing, and even Mika's comment, of people commenting on how shady women are to one another. And the reason I get in my bag about it, or in my feelings about it, is because usually when it's being said, it's about black women.
Did he say black women?
No, but I'm saying usually when it's being said, I'll be honest. I went to a school, PWI, mostly white. I rarely heard white men commenting on the stuff that's going on with white women. And you rarely see it now. You rarely see them jumping on TikTok to make videos and wigs and pretend to be black women and make fun of black women or make commentary about, I mean, white women, make commentary about the women of their race. In this space, what needs to be understood is the things that are primarily complained about black women, their success, being educated, being overeducated, because we're just too much in too many ways, being independent, buying their own house, all these things you see black women doing when they are single or they are single mothers are typically being done because of the community they've built around themselves, and that community is usually reflective of them. I know black women plenty, sorority sisters, when I was active and everything else, they were getting through school by the skin of their teeth because another black woman was watching their kid overnight so that they could work.
Yeah.
We have to be careful. It's not so much that you say, I never once said men aren't. We have to be careful about the fact that when you put the comment out there so blatantly and you just leave it sitting there, it's now a comment that people come back to, and it's a trope that is consistently said about black women.
Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick. That same chick that you've been around, Ronaldo, those same women, trust me, they throwing shade to men too. You just don't throw shade to one type of person. No, if you a shade thrower, you throw shade to everyone. You just never witnessed them throwing shade to anyone else. They just happen to be in a particular setting where you like kind of like summarize that as the be all end all. Trust me, I throw shade to everyone. I don't discriminate. Shade is great, but at the same time, sometimes shade is our language to vent amongst women. Like to piggyback on her example, I'm trying to go to med school. My homegirl go watch my kids, but low key sometimes I get on her nerve with that.
Yes.
Okay, and she throws shade at her other friends. This bitch got me watching her kids again. She love it. I love her ass, but and we throw shade to get that energy out. Because if it sat and got it compressed, then we might ruin their friendship. So sometimes that shade is it's
just venting.
It's really just a foul. And the fact that you just salivating over the shade is because it's funny and it's colorful and it's vibrant, because that's how we talk amongst each other. But trust and believe, just as much as the shade is it's funny and vibrant and colorful, the encouragement and support is bigger. Now, I would love for you to say, with that same energy, the opposite end of the spectrum would be, women are the biggest group of supporters as well. Yeah. Because the shade is just the negative energy coming off of supporting your girl for a minute, and you might not want to, but you do it anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Or, you know what? I love you. I had somebody say this to me one day that I know loves me.
Right.
I know this sister loves me. She looked right at me and she said, I was complaining about the same dude for the same problem the 50th time.
Right.
And she said, not for nothing, but as smart as you are and capable as you are, sweetie, you'll be done when you're done. Now, somebody watching that out there and be like, damn, you don't even get that shit. But that was love.
Yeah.
And you gotta allow, this is the thing I would love to ask anybody. As I know, Mark is going to take us in a new direction, but as what I would say to anybody is, make it a point, make it a point not to feel the need to comment on how Black women interact with each other. Just step back and, as Michelle says, watch the movie, because what you see us doing is bigger than any shade you might hear in these little whispers. Sisters that are out here doing big things are doing it off the strength of other sisters. So when you see that, comment on that, post about that. But that little bit of shade, that's merely a whisper in our loud voice in this universe.
Right. You know what I found though? First of all, let me get some comments in. Shout out first to our brother Harry Williams. Harry Williams, shout out to you, brother. Thank you, brother, for listening and supporting Harry. I know that you check us out from time to time and don't always check in, and tonight you are. Harry is driving and listening, so peace to you, Harry. Thank you, and please be safe on the road. If we say something crazy, hold on to the wheel. and don't let our craziness cause you to drift a little bit, because we can do that to you. Tamika is listening and watching, and she says, "Speak that truth, Steph. We'll rule for each isolated incident the commenter may or may not have witnessed. There was no inside opportunity to witness the sisterhood."
Yes.
Ugh.
That circle
here's
is
the thing.
problematic, is what it sounds like.
Here's what I will say, and I'll take the last word on this topic, and then we'll transition to another. We have a culture where we trade off of the most negative aspects of our culture, and so we can speak of the shade. We can speak of how our sisters may throw shade at one another, but why don't we talk of the obvious opportunities that we give one another to be great? And on this show is one of them. Anybody who's around me, unless you're a fucking asshole, you're going to get me throwing not shade, but light your way. You know what I'm saying? And so does Steph, and so does Kula. And because I know them, I can speak for them in this way, but I also know those sisters and sisters like them and brothers as well, who, like myself, we trade off of the positivity, because we know there are those who like to point out the negative. It's not a shot at Ronaldo or anybody else. It's absolutely not. But I think that we often are using the pop culture mentality where we highlight a lot of negativity and we low light the positivity, which is the reason why Marcus J, am overly positively expressive about the people who I rock with in a public manner. Now, I know you spoke with the sisters, but I'm speaking of people, and I'm speaking of Steph, and I'm speaking of Kula, and I'm speaking of others who I know who have come in this room, who have come on this show, who try to be the opposite of that. I know what Reynaldo is saying has some truth to it. But I also know what Steph and what Kula is saying has more truth to it. We can choose to focus on the negative and the shade if we want to, but that's not a path that is a positive path that any of us want to go down, because it's a dead end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would much prefer.
It's not going to keep.
It's not going. It's not going. It's not going to keep us going. And I know it, and I see it. And Ronaldo, I want to give you your props, because I understand what you trying to say, but I don't agree with you in the sense that we should be highlighting that and even bringing it up. I think it's more important for us to be expressive in a positive manner about how we celebrate each other. I mentioned the Kula earlier and Steph earlier, and this is a path that I do not want to go down. I'm going to make this comment and we will move on. But I have just started watching P Valley, right? And the reason why I want to bring that up specific to this conversation, Lord, yes. Can you do
know
that
what?
again?
No,
Sorry. No.
Can't.
Okay.
No.
When
You know what?
Hey, look,
Ma'am?
when they leave, hey, look, when y'all leave, then I'm gonna
just
get her to do
perfected
more of that.
foot thing that moves
Yeah.
everything
No,
else.
because
The
can you
foot wiggle
can
that
you do
moves
this?
everything.
Can you
P
do that?
Valley is that thing.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I'm sorry.
Look,
Yeah.
he glad John ain't here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because she's prettier than John.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No offense,
Lord.
John. We love you, but she is prettier.
Yes, Mercedes. Yes, Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Yes, Mercedes. But where I was going was Mississippi was bringing her baby to the club. And the other patrons all pitched in. And when her guy asked, "Who's watching the baby when you in there dancing?" and her response was, "Everybody. Everybody."
Yep.
Everybody. So that speaks to that. And that's a fictional show, but fiction, the greatest fiction, always comes from real life. You know what I'm saying? So his grandmother was a hoe.
And raised by the prostitutes in
Yeah.
here.
His grandmother was a hoe. He was raised in the pink. He was raised at the pink. So
and you know what? And the greater thing about it is, if you look at our community,
pink.
if you look at not Pank,
Pank.
and if you look at our communities overall, if we could just take 1 minute and acknowledge that there are little boys getting their hair cut right now by a man that's not their father, and their mother is bringing him to that man, and that man is a part of that village, and still that man be like, every time she bring him in here, I got to go through his hair, do this, that, and the other shit. It's just
Do it.
We are,
Just do it.
somebody said on Twitter something that was so real. They said the reason we have so many issues with communication between black and white people is that black people are a keep it real culture. By nature, we speak on things that might hurt your feelings, but I got to tell you what I got to tell you. And that's how we keep things moving. We really don't have a lot of space for BS if we truly want to interact with one another.
We highlight the keep it funky mentality.
We do.
And
on the other side of the tracks, they're not as comfortable with that.
Yeah.
They want things to be easy. And black folk by nature are like,
we ain't doing that.
We ain't doing
that. Ain't no how Steppin, Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. Once again, we will move on. Next thing I want to talk about, Cool, I want you to lead us off on this. As an artist, as a person who is spends a lot of time showing your face to the public and leading us through events of fun. You probably have dealt with situations like Monique and DL have dealt with on some level. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But I want to talk about Monique and DL and the heat that they have. And it's upsetting to me. I try not to tell the story and give my commentary as I'm telling the story, but this is one that I'm just going to do it. Because as a lay person, I'm not one that opens up shows for people. I'm not one that closes shows for people. Every show I've ever done has been about all of us. It ain't never been about nobody but us. It ain't never been about me. The show has my name on it, but I try the best I can to make sure that everybody who is with me gets the same kind of shine and even more than I do. And that's me throwing shade. You see that? See how I did that? Yeah. And Monique and DL. All right. So Monique and DL. Monique has heat with DL because I guess he closed the show that she says that she was supposed to close, and they both threw contracts back and forth saying that they were supposed to close. And DL says to Monique, that's how come everybody seemed to got heat with you, because you always got heat with everybody. At first you was beefing with Oprah and Tyler, and everybody got heat with you, and you fighting and everything, the stuff, and then the fuss and then the stuff. And I just say, who cares? But then it's about money. So obviously somebody cares. And obviously Monique is one of them. So Cool, I want you up on this one first because, Monique's position and, me not being like goofy telling the story now, I'll just tell it how it was for real because I had to get my shade in, right? Get my shade in. But she appears to have a legitimate concern about a contract that says she was supposed to close. DL put one up that says he's supposed to close. She's upset. He's responding. I'd like to know what you think about this.
It's kind of it's disappointing to be honest. Because all they really had to do is talk. I really think it's a promoter thing. To be honest, promoter says, "Hey, I want to get her here, and I want to get him here, and hopefully they'll just both get here, and then we'll just figure it out when they get here." And I really think that's what it is. It's a promoter issue. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like. So now you got two really prominent people in the community like fighting, and this is why I'm disappointed with Monique is your talent is your talent regardless of where you go in the lineup. And the fact that you want to end it makes me feel like you are low-key insecure about your talent. So the end of the show is supposed to be the home run hitter, but you can be the home run hitter in the middle. It's just about where you fall in with your talent. You can make people forget the last person with your skill set. And I feel like she throws these tantrums because she might be lacking in her skill set and doesn't want to be honest. Now, to get on stage, I didn't hear any jokes. I didn't hear one clever double entendre pun joke. I heard her throw this man hella shade. She threw him hella shade. Now, as a comedian, you're supposed to have thick skin. You know, they talk and they roast each other, whatever. But that wasn't even a roast because it wasn't clever. It wasn't no satire in it.
It was
or
just
anything.
a complaint.
It was just a long ass rant to strangers, and it was tacky. It was tacky as hell. And I would have been like, bitch, I want my money back. I come to hear you have a session on the couch, bitch. I want my money back. Because that's all you're doing. You came out here and closed or did whatever the show and vented about how you were angry about the paperwork. The paperwork which you had a part of technically because it was your husband's entertainment company. So it's not an artist thing. It's a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, contractual lawyer thing. So for her to do all that out and about in front of everybody, all she did was stack up the negativity it's already surrounded by her name. You call him DL, you call DL because he's gonna DL. Yeah, that's kind of like the pun, the bump. You know, I get it. No, he's not on the DL, but it's just funny.
Also homophobic, really.
Right, it's homophobic, but at the same time, you can't have thick skin as a comedian and then go after the LGBTQIA community. But then when somebody low-key called you DL because it was a pun on your initials, you can't get mad about that. It's just part of the vernacular in comedy. She just took it to a very disrespectful level to the where it wasn't fun. It wasn't jokes.
It wasn't funny.
Now, if she had did it in the right satire with the joke, then yeah, you know, you didn't like. She could have made a pun off of DL on the download with your big hats. You know, she could have made it a joke and stuff, and she didn't. She made it an attack
with your big hats.
With your big hats, you know, so you could catch whatever. You know, she could have made it a joke, and she did. She made it an attack, and then she made it personal, and then she made it everybody's business. Which I'm like, okay, this don't have nothing to do with me. But now you just gave me another reason to look at you with the side eye, like, ain't nobody ever gonna want to work with you no more. But like, no one. Elvis would come back and was like, no, I'm not gonna work with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, what? No one is going to work with you ever.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
You know what I'm saying? She couldn't even get a gig at the thrift store. No one's gonna work with her no more. And it's just like, unfortunately, it gives because she's an OG, because she's prominent, it's give that false umbrella of where other black female comedians are gonna fall under. And that's not fair because this is an individual. She don't represent me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's like sis, but not sis, because you don't represent me. You are a grown woman that made a choice that has no direct consequence on me. I don't own you. I don't owe you any support because you're a black woman. You a dumb human.
Yeah.
And you made a dumb mistake. And I think you should just, as a dumb human making a dumb mistake, you should just eat your dumb consequences. But it ain't got nothing to me.
Valerie says, Steph Valerie says, I think Monique went too far. Their beef was their beef until she stooped to twisting his words about his daughter. Why was that necessary? And she keeps going instead of shutting it down, deal with the promoter and let it go. What's your thoughts, Steph?
I do agree with that. I think there's a few things. So like when I'm sitting with a coaching client and they tell me there's an issue, I'm always listening for what they're not telling me is the issue, because people will assume that X is their problem. And the more we talk through it, it's Y. It's something totally different. What I see with Monique is she feels injured and damaged by the industry post Precious. She didn't feel she got her just due. And I would really say this. She didn't get her just due because right after Precious, she didn't get ignored or pushed out of the industry simply because of Lee Daniels, which I think there was some issues with that there for sure. But I think it also comes down to, at that time, being a black woman in Hollywood, there are only so many roles that they were creating with us in mind. So she happened to get that role. And then if you look at anything that came out afterward, that was being made by Black creators,
Right.
there weren't a lot of roles that reflected what she just came out of with Precious. And then when you look at the fact that she has stepped into that role in Precious and it was a really serious role, white Hollywood is not checking for Monique.
No.
You're Black famous.
Yeah.
You're Black famous.
Yeah.
And so you didn't get what you needed in that time. And it's what I tell people all the time. Make the issue the issue. Don't take the issue and then say, all right, I'm gonna get on 95, but now I'm gonna jump on 64 because I got issues over there. And I think 301 is somewhere around here. Let me get over there too.
Why
You're all
crashing?
over the place and you're misrepresenting the facts. What Monique does, and I'm going to tell you, initially, I absolutely believe her that the Black elite in Hollywood cuts her out. I absolutely believe they have their chain. It happens with elites in any race. They decide, everybody right now, all the moneyed people right now are deciding what we get to experience and how we live.
You remember that episode on Blackish when Charlie came to the golf course?
Yeah,
Monique
and it was
is Charlie.
Monique is Charlie.
Like they looking at him like, yeah, he's cool to visit, but he can't.
He can't keep coming back because he just out here acting up.
Yeah.
And so with Monique, she did this "I'm gonna be me" thing for so long, and it really made people look closely at her. It made people start pulling the threads. Oh, we don't like her. Oh, we don't like this. And then for her, everything became a battle. And that's the space that Monique, as much as she want to say sweetie and baby, and just because you put some auntie words on it, don't mean you acting like an auntie, because you're not.
No, because she dropped some in the end.
And she will in a minute. She dropped
them ends on him. I was like,
yeah, she's feeling, this is what you see when someone is hurt and has unresolved issues, and they start to transition those issues to every single person they encounter with the assumption that you're trying to do to me what the guy 10 weeks ago did. She needs to get off that. The other thing is you got to live exactly as you say you are when you're in a public position, or when you're in a position where people say that they know you or they hear you. If I come on here one week and I'm like, yeah, these females, and that is not in line with who I say I am and who I say I respect, regard, and hold highly. You say you respect Black women. You come at DL and say, you're Monique, I am angry. This is what they do to Black women. And then you drag 2 Black women who had nothing to do with this through the mud. You mentioned his daughter's trauma. She came back and said he didn't even believe why would you believe him? He didn't even believe his own daughter when she said she was sexually assaulted. And then she dragged his wife into it as well. You're out of line.
Yeah.
You're out of line. And now you're making it difficult for people to want to get behind you. And I think what Monique is doing, and it's shocking to me because you got this husband that's managing your business. You know what's interesting? If this was Will and Jada, we'd be talking about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
why we ain't doing that?
Why
are we talking about the fact that he needs to put his hand out and say, baby, don't do, because I want to.
Why
nobody's
isn't he calming her
about
down?
that.
Yeah.
You see,
it's fair.
This is where
patriarchy.
This is where I point things out
because they the Bobby and Whitney.
What I'm going to tell people is I don't sleep on facts, and I remember behaviors and what people say and do. Hillary Clinton has been hated forever because Bill got his tip wet with another woman. Y'all hated her for his behavior. Why she didn't control her husband, and what wasn't she doing, and everything. And then on the other hand, oh, she's a bitch. Like, you just can't win. In this case, she's got management. Your management is your husband. Why isn't he saying fall back? You know why? You keep marrying people that have less power than you. And your money is his money.
Yeah.
And so he is not protecting you, because if he were true management, forget being a husband. If he were true management, and I've worked very closely with artists in the past, I'm the kind of person that will say, are we making money with this? Because if we're not, are we making music with this? Are you making people kiki ha ha? Because that's your job.
Can we do merch off this? Like, what are we doing?
None of this is monetizable. And your manager, who happens to be your husband, is letting you go off the tracks.
And look crazy.
And you look crazy. But mostly, Monique needs a break. She needs a break. She needs to remove herself from the environment. She needs to stop trying to fight everybody. You can't fight Netflix and Oprah and DL and what's his
Whoopi
Medea man. You
and
can't Tyler
Tyler.
Perry, excuse me. I'm sorry, I
Not
don't
the
know.
Medea man.
I couldn't remember.
You know
off the
what's
top of-
funny?
Medea
But you
man.
can't fight all those
But you-
battles at once.
But you know what's funny about this whole thing is the last thing that you just said, and the thing that DL said. It's like, yo, you got heat with everybody. At
You're the
some point,
problem.
you gotta wonder, is it me? Let me get a couple of comments and shout out to Legacy Internet Radio alumni, my brother and friend Aaron Turner, who is checking us out. He says peace and blessings, just passing through. Peace to you, brother. Peace to you. He says, I agree with the sister. I think he's referring to you, Steph. And then cousin Terry says Monique is a narcissist. I see this, man, and I border. I try to balance myself between like really going in on folks and then trying to be politically corrected with my pros. This is one that I'm not going to do the politically correct thing. I'm just keep it all the way funky. Like it's at some point, if everybody got heat with you and you got heat with everybody, you really do have to look in the mirror. I don't know about the contracts. I'm a lay person with all of this. I'm a fan. I'm someone who doesn't really call himself a fan of either of them. When I saw the Kings of Comedy and she kind of threw a little shade at him, like, you open for them, how you supposed to close for me? That was one of her comments. Like, you open,
so long
you
ago.
open,
Yeah,
the
like,
Kings of
come
Comedy
on.
was in,
See,
in
now you know
2000.
she
That was
holding
over
on to
20 years ago.
resentment. She going
But
way
it's
back there
like,
that.
I don't have a dog in the race because I'm not a big fan of either of them. I just, I audio books DL's last book and his social commentary with regards to race relations in the last 2 years was absolutely brilliant.
I may have to
It was
pick that
on
up.
point with a lot of what the things that I was thinking. Not just because he's a dude, but because he has said things more recently that I can agree with, I am more likely to look at this situation and maybe fall on his side with regards to with regards to him versus her seemingly having problems with everybody. Uh, and I want to be fair and I want to look at the situation for what it is, but I have a hard time with her because you do have heat with everybody. Like, and it's not just minor stuff. Like, you coming for people and you have the appearance of people coming for you, but it doesn't seem to jive with the level
Like,
of
she
your
has a hate club.
aggressiveness.
Like, this the amount of people she's had beef with.
Yeah,
It's
it's
enough to start a club.
like, it's like, I mean, think
An
about
elite
this.
club,
Just
too.
but
Like,
see, you gotta
yeah.
also think about this, right? And just think about the people that she has had heat with. Netflix. You don't hear a lot of people have problems with Netflix because they paying people.
Right.
So Tyler Perry, you don't hear a lot of people have heat with
Because he's
Tyler Perry
employing them.
because he's not only employing people, but he's like building buildings and companies and people are eating that didn't eat before and stuff. And then Oprah is Oprah. Like,
Whoopi.
you can fight about Oprah all you
Whoopi.
want. I wish that Oprah would have made a school
Whoopi,
here instead of in
Charlamagne God.
Africa. Make a school in Mississippi where you from, or make a school in Chicago where you made your name, or Baltimore where you got your start. That's the heat that I got with Oprah, but that ain't no real heat because it's her money. She can do what she want with it. So I can't really come for Oprah. And that just leaves me with you, Monique. You got heat with all of them. And I look at the situation. We can even go back to Lee Daniels. And we can talk about the heat that she had with him. And so I'm just like, all right, I want to rock with you because you my sister. And I dug the Parkers. It was funny. I liked you, Nikki.
Why do we have to embrace celebrities like they family?
But some folks have a legacy of making you happy as a fan, and so you want to give them more than they deserve when their behavior is such that you're supposed to say, man, get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
When you want to, but you want to give them more grace than they deserve. Whereas Monique is dipping into, man, get the fuck out of here territory.
Yes.
With this being the last straw for a lot of people.
And you know what's unfortunate
and it's me.
about it?
I am a lot
You're
of
a lot
people.
of people. You are.
Yeah.
And I'll say this even from a perspective of you're pretty central. You kind of stay in the middle. You're centrist about a lot of things. Okay.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fact that you are feeling this, imagine how many more people are feeling this. And I think the really unfortunate thing about this is going back to the business of it all. She is the business. She's the brand. She is her own sellable entity. And you're now in a space where you're becoming untouchable.
It's a recall on
People
that.
will, in the end, and she will be the kind of person who will say, they're doing this because I'm a
Yeah.
black woman. They're doing this because I'm a fat black woman. They're doing
I'm
this.
just
They're
like,
doing that.
no, don't
And I'm
lump
like,
us
at
into that.
some point,
Girl, you lost weight.
right. And at some point, it's you.
I'm sorry.
And
No,
the,
you're
and the
right, she
thing
did.
about it being her, and this is the hard part, is at some point, and I think that point is now, you won't even have anyone to argue with
Nah.
because you won't have a seat
Yeah,
at
you
the table
you
you worked so
alienated
hard to
everybody.
get.
You alienated everybody.
Yeah, people just won't want to deal with it. And DL said it. He said, I went back and forth because everybody was saying, and he was like, I should have listened to them.
Yeah.
That right there
Was the money
means
shot.
you lost, Monique.
That was a money
There's
shot.
nothing else you can do. You have lost.
Cousin Terry is saying, and she was responding to my comment in my last piece there, and we're gonna move on here. I'll take the last word. She says that Oprah has gone on record saying she made moves in Africa because the U.S. wouldn't, and she's referring to my piece when I said that she had gone to Africa and did what she did there versus the cities here that would have been more likely, and I respect that. And I have heard that. I'm not moved by that, but I have heard that. Ain't no how stepping.
I think she Oprah.
She's
she understates her influence.
she's
in that
Oprah.
case.
She's
Yeah.
Oprah, and you could have done shit. And so I know that she said that, and I respect that point is being made. But you Oprah, and that's not good enough for
But
me.
you Oprah.
Yeah, ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and that radio. All right. So the final thing that we're going to talk about before we close out the show is we're going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about gun rights, and we're going to talk about the response in Uvalde. So I'll lead this off. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I will speak for you guys and say that I'm pretty confident that all three of us in this room today are pro guns. I know that I am. The three of us, from my understanding, we are all concealed carry license holders in this room. So we are folks who we ain't those people who are we got to take the guns. We got to take it. We're not those people, and none of the Democrats are those people. I ain't no Democrat. I'm not celebrating them, but the Republicans and the white supremacists want to make it seem like Democrats, and more specifically, black folks are the ones that are celebratory of that type of mentality. Barack Obama wants to take your guns. Like, he didn't want to take your guns. He just wanted to make sure your crazy people don't have no guns. He just wanted to make sure that an 18-year-old couldn't walk into a gun store and buy an AR. That same 18-year-old can't buy a handgun till he's 21. He just wants to make sure that people who have documented and well-known mental health issues cannot have a weapon. Okay? That's what we want. And I wanted to do that social commentary before I got to the story because sometimes I forget. So let's talk about Uvalde. Let's talk about 19 children and 2 teachers losing their lives because an 18-year-old kid was able to walk into a gun 2 or 3 days prior and buy an AR. Let's talk about the fact that the Uvalde Police Department had, and their conflicting reports. So if you know something different than what we say here, by all means, call us at 804-402-2893 and correct us. If you're from Uvalde, if you're from Texas, if you're a law enforcement officer, if you're a white supremacist, if you happen to be white and think that all white people should not be tagged with the white supremacist tag, and you think that black people is tripping because we paint you all with a broad brush, even though we don't. If you are any of those people and you want to correct anything that's being said tonight, phone number is 804-402-2893, because I promise you one thing that I don't do is tuck and run. I will have a conversation with anything about anything with anybody at any time, especially when I got a microphone in my hand. 804-402-2893. Just not on yoga nights. Don't call me on Wednesdays. I'm
Not
doing
the yoga
yoga,
nights, I
and
love
I'm
it.
doing yoga on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
So
So
there's 3 days a week.
yeah.
You can't
No,
call
don't
him.
not full days.
3 times
Yeah.
a
Wednesday
week.
evening, Saturday and Sunday mornings, I won't do this.
Otherwise, let's get.
Because I'm saying namaste. Yeah.
Namaste, my good
Namaste.
Namaste,
But
my
I
good
promise you,
space.
as we sit in Gemini cycle and in my birthday
Lord.
month, I promise you, don't let namaste fool you, because I'm still a Gemini and I will flip a motherfucking table.
Here we go. And with that,
And with
Okay,
that, I
okay.
just needed to say that
mm,
because I'm curious to know how y'all feel about the woman who knew that her children were inside the building and there was shooting going on, and she was outside in handcuffs because Uvalde Police Department felt like she was being a little too aggressive. And then she talked to another person in law enforcement who uncuffed her, and then she darted into the building,
hopped over a fence.
hopped
Don't
over a
forget that.
fence. You know, there's so much stuff here, and I feel like I'm rambling here, but
I
I'm gonna
love
say
it.
this last piece and I'm gonna let y'all get it. How you gonna hop over a fence, run to a building that's supposed to be secure and locked? You ain't supposed to be able to get in there, but she did.
Mhm.
She got in, she got her children, and she got out. But she wasn't supposed to
And
be able
there's
to get in.
video of her running out.
There's video of her running out with her kids, and she wasn't supposed to even be able to get in the building because it's supposed to be secure. But then she was in handcuffs, screaming, "Let me go get my kids." Like, think about how helter skelter
It's all
that
over the
is that I'm
place.
saying, that we're saying here. First of all, she's a parent that wants to go in, and there are police already in who are not going in the rooms where they hear gunshots because they haven't been given the order to do so.
Actually, she said on the news that she went in before they got in because they wouldn't go in. And she actually said to them, "Give me a vest and come with me."
Yeah. There were no cops
And this was
in
a
the
little
school.
lady. This wasn't like, it wasn't like she was, 6 foot and ready to go. She's a little thin,
She wasn't
tiny
Miss. She wasn't Miss Sophia.
She was Miss Sophia. She and
No.
and the fact of the
She's
matter
more
is,
Rosie Perez.
exactly. She's
Yeah.
looking at these people who are supposed to be
Like,
these
Mookie,
protect and
Mookie.
serve saviors,
Yeah.
and she makes it in. Not only did she go to one classroom, she said to the teacher, "I'm gonna go down here and get my other son. Y'all need to start heading that way." She went and got the other son. The teacher didn't want to let him out. She said when the teacher opened the door a little bit, she got in there, got her kid left, went and met up with the next kid, and was out of there. Why is a mother having to risk her life? Now, naturally, the cops could have all been in there. As a mom, if you're outside, you want to be in there too. That's just that natural feeling. But the fact is, she knew she had to because they were not.
You know that they threatened her probation if
Yes,
she
they
went
did.
for it. I was like,
Put me under the
what?
jail. I don't care. And this is the other thing that makes that even worse. The Supreme Court has iterated, stated, put it into law, and reaffirmed time and time again that police are not required to risk their lives for you. This is Supreme Court law. So more than one person has sued the police saying they either didn't go in, they didn't save my loved one, whatever it
They didn't
was.
try.
And they are not winning these cases because stated law is law enforcement. They're not called police. They're LEO, law enforcement officers, are not required to risk their lives for us. And yet we give them this positioning of being these, and I'm not saying that some of them aren't heroic, but we have to acknowledge their humanity. The Supreme Court didn't uphold this ruling for nothing. The Police Benevolent Association has pushed this over and over and over again, that they do not have to risk their lives for you. The same people that do have at will opportunity to shoot you down
Yeah.
do not have to risk their lives to save you, and yet drive around with cars that say protect and serve. So they legally don't have to serve or protect you. The problem that I have with this is we ignore the truth. These are things you need to know. These children were in that school, and we now know the reason those police weren't going. I don't want to risk my life. and legally they were able to do that.
Now here's the devil's advocate. What if they just let all the parents go in?
I don't think they should. I don't think any parent should have been in. I don't think any parent should have to go in. I think those parents were behaving the way they were because they arrived on the scene and the cops were acting as helpless as they were. And if you or I rolled up and you saw that Phoenix needed your help crossing the street and somebody wouldn't let you, you would be having a fit.
I've watched Taken entirely too many times.
Yes.
I'm getting in that building.
I've got a certain set of skills.
I die hard. Taken. I'm getting in the building.
I'm just looking at this, right? And I, you know, I'm gonna read Cousin Terry's comment, and then I'll say this. She says on 9/11, I was told I couldn't get my kids out of their school. I saw an open door and went in and got my children. I dared anyone to try and stop me. The fact that the police in Uvalde put handcuffs on a mother while children were being killed is pathetic. And I'll add to Terry's story. I know because she's my cousin that she was in Jersey City at the time. I was in Jersey City this weekend. I was at Exchange Place, and I saw the monument erected to the memory of the folks that were killed on 9/11. The monument stands directly parallel. It's in Jersey City, and it stands directly parallel to the spot where the Twin Towers was. So if you stand at the monument and you just face New York City, you're facing it. And the monument had all of the people from Jersey City who lost their lives that day. So I felt like I needed to add that to, you know, that kind of add to qualify what Terry is saying, because I know that because she's already told me that. I know that's a real story. Having said that, you know, I don't care about your little police department in Uvalde. Don't care about your little police department in Richmond, Virginia. I don't care about the Jersey City Police Department. I don't care about NYPD. What I care about is the blue and the badge. All you motherfuckers are the same to me. And so if you can choke out Eric Garner for selling a cigarette, if you can put a knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, if you can shoot Philando Castile for just saying that he had a legally licensed weapon, if you can shoot Tamir Rice within 2 seconds of seeing him there, you can hear gunshots in a school and you can storm it, because they just had active shooter training in March. We all know March.
No, but then
refresher.
He had to get a Arredondo, excuse me, had to go and get certified separately as the chief 2 weeks prior to this.
So we talking about from March to 2 weeks prior. We talking about training that we have just had that tells you if you got an active shooter, take them out. And we know that they were hearing gunshots, which means you ain't got elementary school kids in there shooting. So if you hear gunshots, that's your active shooter.
Yes.
So go get him. Why didn't you go get him? And here's the last piece. And we've been getting so much conflicting information on this story here. And I don't know how much is true and how much is not true. But if we're hearing this and we know that the police were there, I've heard that Uvalde Police Department. Now, I don't know if this is a police department thing because I ain't no damn cop. So I don't know all the shit that y'all get taught. But yeah, Lord knows, I promise you, I'm glad I'm not. But because I respect those who do what y'all supposed to do. It's punks that I got heat with. But if you hear gunshots going on and there's kids in there, you're supposed to go get them. But I also have been made aware that if you have been given an order that you disagree with and lives are at stake, you have the right to disobey an order. The order that they had been given was stand down. Don't go in. Don't engage. It took a police officer who disobeyed orders to take this shooter out. They out there for what are they saying? 40 minutes to an hour?
Yeah, an hour. It was 60 minutes.
40 to 60 minutes, they saying. while all this is going on. They get 911 calls from the kids inside the room, Cooler.
That's a
And not
Law
only
and Order
that,
episode.
they saying not only were they getting the calls from 911 calls from the kids, but they saying that the commanding officer on the ground didn't have the communication, so he didn't even know that
That
them
was
babies
the
was
police.
alive, man. Cooler, what you got?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
You got
I think
it.
about an hour. An hour is a long time to
An
be-
hour.
an hour, like
To be
to
traumatized.
be outside as a parent, hearing gunshots and not knowing if you're to an hour of agony, of pure freaking agony, but then an hour of inactivity,
Yes.
an hour of police inactivity that blows my mind.
I give you a perfect example. Cool. I'll let you finish your point, but I'll give you a perfect example. If I said right now, let's have a moment of silence for 10 seconds on the radio. If we just was silent on this radio show for 10 seconds and we didn't say anything, let's make a point and let's do it. We're not gonna say nothing for 10 seconds. We're gonna get this 10 seconds for them babies. 10 seconds. That was 10 seconds, right? And it felt like a long time of dead air on a radio on a radio show
Yeah.
when you're expecting to hear something.
Yes.
Could you imagine that 10 seconds in
No.
that room with them babies? Continue
So
your
No.
point.
to be at a police inactivity for an hour while hearing kids scream and cry and gunshots. I'm trying to think now. I'm thinking about the mentality of the officers there, the other officers.
Yes.
Like what were you thinking?
Where's
What
your
was-
humanity?
What was going like, dude? Their kids dying. I don't give a fuck about my position when I get done. Okay, I'll figure that shit out later. But right now, I need to be on my Rambo, Steven Seagal type shit, and I need to storm and troop and and go in there and get it. Now, I don't know how to say if it's fair to lump the all police in different states and different areas together. You know, the Tulsa versus the Uvalde versus Virginia Tech. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like that situation wasn't 60 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to figure out like that's your situation is how do you handle that? How do you handle that as a community to know that there's some person in that school killing babies just off a GP and no one's there to, you can't, it just, everything about that situation is so overwhelming. But I'm just trying to figure out as a police officer, this is what you said you wanted to do. You chose an occupation where you know that that's why you say you always scared of us. My life is on the line. You always scared of us. So you always know your life is on the line to be heroic as well.
But you know what's funny about that, Cooler? Ronaldo says, peace to you, brother. Thank you. I work with, yes, he is.
Okay.
I work with children every day, and I ain't nowhere near trained like UVPD. I'm not standing around a minute if something is happening to children near me, and I appreciate that, brother, because I feel the same way. You know, I'm
The
just one of
teachers
those.
were braver than the cops.
You know what's funny about this, right? I'm one of these people, Steph. I'm like, I fear for my life. I fear for my life when I'm dealing with black folks, in situations where we have interactions and we're different police departments. I told you earlier, I'm not dealing with different police departments. I'm dealing with police. Police. Yes, broad brush. All y'all getting paint
System.
with it. All y'all getting paint with it. So at least it's consistent. You feared for your life when it was us, so you killed us. You feared for your life, so you wouldn't go save babies, because you feared for your life. So,
Saved yours, though.
hey, look, man, I would fear for my life. That's why I ain't no cop. Real talk. That's why I ain't no cop. I got a concealed carry license, so you can walk upon me if you choose to at your own peril. But when we talking about saving babies, when we hear gunshots in the building where there are babies, You mean to tell me that your oath as a police officer keeps you from running in there
For an hour.
for an hour?
For a whole hour. When
For an hour.
when you think about it, like to everything you guys are saying,
An hour.
here they are trained to go in there, right? So you're trained in whatever job you have. So somebody comes to you in the capacity of what you do. Doesn't have to be police work or whatever. They come to you in the say they don't come to you in the capacity of what you do, but they have a situation that has something to do with your world. You will feel compelled to give input, advice, or to react on the basis of what their needs are, simply because, oh yeah, that's what I do. Let me help you. I've had people, I don't consult with everybody I meet, but certain people will be like, Steph, I know what you do. I have a question about my business. And I'll be like, all right. It happens sometimes when I go to my favorite location. I'm having a drink, just chilling out. And the owner might say, I'm curious about your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
My natural instinct, based on what I do, is shoot.
Yep.
Or pardon me, go ahead. Let's talk it through.
Shoot your shot.
Right. Now, you're trained to react to violence when it's in your presence, and you're supposed to be trained. You have trained the American public to believe that your reactions are all heroic. That's why we shouldn't judge you. And truly, think about what we've been taught. Their reactions are all heroic. We shouldn't be judging them. We don't know how they feel, the shoes they're walking in, and they go out there and risk their lives for us. And then you literally had an opportunity to do the thing you're trained to do, and it wasn't your natural reaction.
I don't even think
that
fear for your
tells
life.
me a lot about you. That tells me a lot about your humanity. The other thing people need to recognize: this town is 81% Mexican American.
Yeah, that was my next thing.
Shocking. 81% Mexican American. An entirely conservative legislative body. The school board, primarily conservative. The mayor, a Republican. Everything around them. The minority, which is the money and the white people in that town, run it. It is minority rule. The average income is $41,000. That is, in that area, considered poverty. And the 20 some odd percent of people who are not Mexican American that live there are controlling that environment. So now these people have gone to a school board meeting just the other day, pointing their finger, wanting answers, and the minority is ruling and shutting them down. This is why it's so important to vote, because none of the leadership in that town look like the majority of the people. And the only way that is going to change is for the weakened majority in that town to come together. I hate to say it, but this might be that awakening, because there's nothing worse.
That's their imbecile.
This might be, because there's nothing worse, if you really think about it, than knowing, say we all were the majority, say Black people were the majority, and we still were having what is considered the Black experience here. We were still getting shootings in the street and so on and so forth. There would be this galvanization to be like, why are we on the losing end of this when there's so many of us?
This last piece I want to add to this as we move to a close, because as much as we could do this all night, we're getting close. When I was in New Jersey this weekend with Mom and Pop, 75 and 80 respectively, they were talking to me and Mama about Emmett Till and the decision that Mamie Till made to leave the casket open so the world could see what they did to her baby. There have been some conversations about potentially having open casket funerals for these babies, these 19 babies, and the other mass shootings of babies before them. And Mom and Dad, Pop, Pop was the same age as Emmett Till. He was a year younger than Emmett Till. And he used to go to Georgia around that time. He'd leave Jersey City and go to Georgia and visit his grandmother and his family, just like Emmett Till did. So he'd be the same age. And mom would have been a few years younger. And we were talking about open caskets for these babies. And with mama sitting next to me, my mother and my father, 9 and 14 respectively, in 1955, when Emmett Till's casket was open for his funeral, both talked to me and mama about how traumatized they were to see his open casket. Mom, more specifically, because she was a little younger, told me that it has been with her ever since, never left her. And they also spoke to how the culture of America changed a little bit off of the decision that Mamie Till made by doing that. Having said all of that, with the climate of America that we have today in 2022, what do we think of having open casket funerals for babies who have been murdered by mass shooters in America, shooting AR-15 automatic rifles that were made to kill people? Let's be clear. We're not talking about rifles or shotguns or even handguns that are used for hunting or personal protection. We're talking about weapons that are made for the expressed specific purpose of killing other humans. How do we feel about having open caskets for these babies who were shot with bullets that were bigger than how big I could take my thumb to my index finger? Cooler, you up first. And I know this is uncomfortable. All of us have children. You have babies, you've got gronies, I've got a new grony. But this is the last piece. Adults. This is the last piece we're gonna get into. Make your
I wouldn't
comment.
want to do it.
Make your comment. Steph will make her comment, and I'll transition
I
us out.
wouldn't. I would feel against the open caskets only because of the frequency of this stuff. That when mass shooting started, it was like, oh no, Columbine hit us, Virginia Tech hit us. Now it's like another one, another one. Like literally, we had two in a week. Right. So now it's like, I don't want the open casket to get to that point too. Okay, another kid open casket. All right, another kid. I don't want that symbolism to go in vain. And Mateo was so profound because it was that one. It was, because it wasn't like a whole bunch, like, but televised like that. It was that profound one televised like that. But to have all these televised open caskets for these babies in this day and age, it will get to the point where the symbolism will fade because it's going to be done too much. That's how I feel about it.
Steph, what's your thoughts?
I agree with Kula about not having the open casket, but I agree with it from a different perspective. A poll was taken the other day, and it was that 28% of Republicans still felt like we have to accept that this is a way of life in order to respect the freedoms of people in the country. 28% of Republicans. Now, if you put that number into the grand pool of all Americans, that is only 13% of Americans. But it's still, we have 13% of Americans, 28% of Republicans that believe that if we want to enjoy the freedoms that we have to accept that this is the new way of life. That's a problem. It's a huge problem. However, I also think about the fact that 20 children were killed in Sandy Hook. And we have people that ever since then, for the last 10 years, including a national radio figure, have said that those murders were not real, that this was a false flag. They have used funeral pictures
You
and
talking about
things
Alex
like
Jones?
that. Alex Jones. They have weaponized. We live in a world with people who are so deranged and nasty now for the sake of politics that this won't matter. As a matter of fact, all they'll do is take these pictures of these mangled brown bodies and use them for their QAnon fodder. So I think it will only, I think saying we need to have these caskets open is us dismissing the fact that we live in a world full of evil people who would be perfectly fine taking that, bastardizing it for the internet, and these families are just going to be consistently targeted. One woman has had in Sandy Hook, they moved 2 or 3 different times because they were being harassed. People were saying, you're lying, your son wasn't killed. I mean, that's how crazy this world is. So these people have been traumatized enough. We don't need to see dead bodies to know that this shouldn't be going on. And yet, there are still these issues where we're perfectly fine with it. You know what I mean? We're fine with it. So no, don't traumatize these families. Don't ask these families to traumatize, to be traumatized for the sake of thinking we're changing the minds of people. My mic is dead. Don't allow these parents to be traumatized for the sake of reminding people who just don't care. That's where I have a problem. Like, it's what are we trying to prove? We keep letting people run in these places with guns and everything else. What are open caskets? Whose minds are they going to change? It's like we're having the January 6th trial come up. Sure, I'll watch it. I'm a political geek. I like it. I like watching things like that. Do I think it's changing anything? No, I don't think it's changing anything. The people who believe what they believe, we all saw the same exact thing from January 6th. We all walked past the TV and said, what in the hell? And still, 44% of us who walked past the TV, and I'm sure all 100% of us at one point were like, what? 44% was like, okay, I'm down with it. I'm cool with it. What is the point of having dead brown bodies on TV? Listen, I agree with your mother that it was something that was probably hugely traumatic, Mark, but think about this. I feel like we're in a new breed of them folk. It's a new generation of them folk. They are reviving racism, bigotry, and prejudice in a way that there is no room for compassion. The murder of Emmett Till moved people because we were still seeing a country that was drifting toward a compassionate phase. You had Martin Luther, you had all these people out there. And we were starting to drift into that. We're on the other side of that now. Now we're drifting away from compassion. Showing the bodies of dead brown children is only going to be trauma porn. Just like seeing black men dead on pavement, it hadn't stopped killing more black men from being killed.
Nope.
Let's not use black and brown people to try and motivate white folk to feel differently.
To do right.
Because it ain't gonna happen.
If anything, it motivates them to do it more. It's like an arson and revisiting the fire.
We're winning, and look how scared they are.
Yeah, like I get to revisit this again. Yeah. I get to see my fruits of my labor.
Well, and if I don't like you anyway, I mean, let's be real. It's not like when Trayvon Martin happened or when Tamir Rice happened, we had all these people turning in their hoods. Wasn't folk weren't coming out. You know what? I feel so bad about this. I want to, there was a growth in these things. There was a growth in the feeling of anti-blackness. It has been tracked. Anti-blackness has grown since Trayvon Martin. We're not going to change their minds by traumatizing their families. And And not for nothing, but while that bullet is that big, it enters and makes a very small hole. When it leaves, it makes a hole the size of a grapefruit. Most children that age don't have heads as big as
Yeah.
grapefruits. No, don't traumatize these people. Don't give the Alex Jones of the world, don't give Fox News the trauma porn that they want. Black people are under that kind of attack already. We don't need to add anybody else to the madness.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. It's been one of those shows, man. It's been emotional. It's been fun. We've laughed. We've gotten to the point where we have gotten angry and kind of stepped back from showing too much of it. And I'm just very, very happy at the combination of personalities that we've had here on tonight's show, from my sister Kula to my sister Steph, and the folks who have chosen to participate and comment on tonight's show. Whenever we can do this, it's a good thing for me. We do it once a week, a couple of times a month, and it's a joy. And I think our conversations are necessary. I think our voices are necessary. We speak as the lay persons, meaning we are the regular person. I love the fact that we speak for the regular person, because the regular person often doesn't have a voice. Nobody cares about what we think, but here on Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J,
Okay.
and on the Legacy Internet Radio,
Okay.
we make sure that the voiceless have a voice, and we give it to you unapologetically, boldly, honestly, fairly. And if you disagree with us, we'll disagree with you, and not be disagreeable. But if you come for us in a disrespectful manner, I promise you it won't go the way that you want it to go. And anytime that you want to disagree with us, we'll let you know that the phone lines are open, because we welcome any kind of debate. The phone number being 804-402-2893. And I think now would be a very appropriate time for us to move on towards the final stage of the show. This is the time where we do a moment in Black history. And this week, first week of June, we got a couple here that we should get to. And let's see. Let's start in 2011. Alabama legislature passes anti-immigrant law designed to force immigrants to flee the state. The governor at the time, Robert Bentley, later signs it despite language that legalizes racial profiling.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. 1943, white workers at Packard Motor Company in Detroit strike to protest promotion of black workers. We don't want them to advance. We going on strike.
Wow.
Literally strike.
We going on strike. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna hurt my pockets over their pockets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate them so much.
Yeah, we going to
I'm
strike.
give up money
I'm
for
not
that.
going to work until y'all decide that you're not going to promote them. Think about that for a second. This how much they don't fuck with us, y'all. 2011, U.S. Census reports 25.7 of black people, and 25.4% of Hispanics are living below the federal poverty line, compared to less than 10% of white Americans. You got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. It ain't got nothing to do with cultural conditioning that is designed to make sure that you design to stay behind us.
Tell that
It
to
ain't got nothing to do with that. You got to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Never mind that we had a head start and we just freed you in 1865, and we just put laws in the books 100 years later that says that we got to treat y'all right, and even over 50 years later we still ain't doing it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and quit complaining. Black people.
Black people.
The hell is wrong with y'all? Black people. Y'all full of shit, white folks, with that. All right. 2013. North Carolina House votes to repeal Racial Justice Act, eliminating legal remedy for racial bias and capital trial. I can read this shit all night. I'm not going to do it no more. Y'all know how y'all treat us. And that's the reason why I do this every single week. Every single week. You know why? Because it's history, and you cannot fight with
Yeah.
history. You cannot dispute history. It's what happened. And if you got common sense and you got common decency, you can see how white supremacy has put his knee on our neck since the beginning of our life in this country. And I tell you, the best of us, the talented 10th, we struggle too. Why? Because we care about the rest of us. This is how we do in this country. We care about the rest of us. White supremacy in history in this country, it's about cultural conditioning. And white folks are not the only ones culturally conditioned. So we talked about earlier. We spend so much time throwing shade at each other behind bullshit. I'm not just gonna fight with them. I'm gonna fight with us too, because we are culturally conditioned behind the cultural conditioning. And we
A lot of leaving.
and we need to do better. Because if we do better, we can fight this thing together. You know, every single week, I come in here and I read these moments in Black history. Shout out to my brother Hakeem in Jersey City, 502 baby, all day, every day. He gave me this calendar. And on this calendar, he gives us the moments in Black history. And we do this every single week. And we're reminded of the bullshit. But you know what? This is not what makes us. We are not those people. I promise you, we are not our grandparents. Don't try it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Ain't no ass
for
stuff.
presentation's sake. I get why they did
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah,
it's a new
don't.
day.
Yeah, don't try it. Ain't no ass stuff. Mark J. Live for New Day and Legacy on the radio. I'm sure it. So I'm on this soapbox, but now I'm gonna step off of it so we can get out of here. This moment in Black history was brought to you by the flagship show of Legacy and radio. It's called Ain't No Hashtag with Marcus J. All right, let's get a couple of missing kids in here so we can go home. I hate this part. All right, so we're gonna look for 3 of them. Tonight we're looking for Tiana Jackson. She is a 14-year-old Black female who is not home with her family since May 19th. She is 5'4", weighs 100 pounds. If you have seen Tiana Jackson, please contact the Henrico County Police Department at 804-501-5000. We're also looking for Cordell Wall. He's a 15-year-old Black male, also missing from Henrico since May 28th, 2022. He's 5'1", 160. Last seen, let's see, unknown description on clothing, possibly armed, so use caution. Not sure what that's about, but he's 15. He ain't home. That's all I care about. And so if you have seen him, contact the Henrico County Police Department at 804-501-5000. Last, but I promise you, he is not the least. Deshaun Joyner is not nobody's least. We looking for him too. He's been missing since June 5th. That was yesterday, y'all. So he might still be out there close. We need to know where he is. He's 5 foot. He's 90 pounds. And he was last seen wearing a white colored shirt, black ripped jeans, and he was not wearing shoes. Not sure what that's about, but if you ain't got on no shoes, you ain't expected to go far. So why is he missing? Deshaun Joyner, where you at, young bruh? Somebody keep your eyes open. 804-501-5000. Deshaun Joyner, we're looking for him. Cordell Wall, we're looking for him. Tiana Jackson, we're looking for her. 804-501-5000. That's the number for the Henrico County Police Department. But if they have slipped outside of the Metro Richmond area and you are listening and watching and you have happened to see one of them, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.org, or call them at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Let us find our missing. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Live from New Den, Legacy Internet Radio. This is the time of the show where we go through our rants and our closings. And this is where we say our final word. We give you our stuff. how you can rock with us, or maybe we just want to fuss about something. But we're going to start it off tonight with our very special guest. This is the part where I make it mushy. You ready?
Makes it weird.
Yeah,
You, you ready? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
make it.
ready.
I'm gonna make it weird. You ready, Cooler?
Stop.
You up first. You up first. You ready? All
That's
right.
your choice?
No,
Okay.
no, you
All
really
right.
don't. So, thank you for being here with us. Ever since the first time I had an opportunity to place these four eyes upon you,
Not the four.
you have been a vision of joy and
I know.
happiness and pride. And when I watch you move, I'm just like, that's my sister. Yo, talk about, because you dope. And it ain't just when you got a mic in your hand. I watch how you move outside of that. I watch how you do when you bringing other folks along, and you bring other folks into your universe. And it feels very effortless. Like, you know, all of this sunlight and shine that I get, I want all of y'all to share. That's what it feels like. Whether that's intention or not, it's only for you to know, but that's what it feels like. And if I feel that way, then I know I'm not the only one. I salute you, my sister. I
Thank
love
you.
you, my sister. I'm so happy
Stop.
to be in fellowship with you, my sister, because you are special and you are dope. And this town needs more like you, man. If we could have thousands of cool of ourselves, I promise you, we would be so much better off. But because we have this one, I will take it because I know I'm better just because I know you.
That's my
So
boo.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I don't know
This
how to
is time
follow
for
that.
you.
Sweet.
This is
Yeah,
time
right?
for you. Close us out. What you got?
Well, I am super grateful and thankful for the invite. I know I can never tell you no. Like, he was like, "Can you come back tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's
It
not even a show. I'll
depends
still
on
be
what I
going.
ask you. You might be able to
I'll
say it.
still
Yeah,
be
let me
here. I
stop.
will be here." So,
Hey, look, it depends on. Hey,
happening
look, you
tomorrow?
can't tell me no. All
I
right,
can't tell you no.
I'll
I
let you when
can't.
these mics go off.
So I'm just like, super grateful, super thankful.
See how serious you are for real.
I'm sick.
Sorry, I'm being a little inappropriate.
trouble.
I know, right? Don't get me in
Hey,
trouble.
hey,
Um,
hey.
I
I
love
meant
you
what I
guys.
said.
I
though.
love this show. I love this platform. I love everything about what you do, what you stand for, what you speak on. So passionate, so articulate, so well versed, and how you feel with your compassion for people. And I really appreciate you as a pillar of the community. You bridge gaps and you make things happen. So I'm glad to have you on my path, my journey. You both have instilled a lot of growth and experience and ideas and confidence, knowing that I was in the right place, in the right room with the right people. It feels good, and it's a knowing. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in this space with these people. It's safe. I feel it. I want to be here as opposed to be like, oh, damn, I'm gonna get out this. Like, no, where you going? I'm going Legacy. I better be back. I gotta get cute. To go to Legacy. So, thank you. I really don't have any rants. I'm chilling. I'm in the vibe. I'm in a good place. Everything's great right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm all teeth and shit. I mean, coming up, we got the first annual RVA Adult Play Date. That's July 2nd, 2 to 6. We got that. We got the parking lot pull up July 16th. What else I got going on? I'm out and about. I'll pop up here, pop up there. Then I go back and mind my own business.
Are Thursday going to start being you coming? I know you busy and you doing big things, but I look forward to Thursday. I like getting a little bit of that.
That's what
BDE.
when I did the Ravier Rap Elite, that's where the energy was going toward.
Yeah,
The Thursday energy went toward the RVA Rap Elite. Now it's more so doing new music, stepping outside my comfort zone, getting a little mushy with the music and stuff because I got new life experiences now to rap about. Still being in my bag with my, assertiveness as far as my music, but I got a couple of things coming up, and I'm excited about trying new things, seeing if that works. If it don't, go back to the board, figure it out. But this is my favorite part of doing music. It's just being vocal. I'm working with some acting stuff behind closed doors, so I'm trying to see how that comes out.
Okay, look at me. We both like, oh, Yeah, yeah.
So
You
yeah,
know, I
we
love
did a
it.
couple auditions and stuff. So some acting things are working out. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I love
excited about
it.
that.
I love hearing things like that.
Yes, and of course, Amanda pushes me with my book. My book is called Chocolate Fairy Tales.
Okay.
You know, so it's urban, romantic, uh, you know, an event.
I
It's
love it all.
yeah, it's
I'm
urban
here to
romantic
support it
event.
all.
Yeah, so we working on some things. And of course, Dre's Dope Desserts. You know,
Yes.
that's always the entity that never goes anywhere. So, you know, get them treats
Get
on
these
these streets, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and yeah, and they keep putting out positive vibes out there to everybody, you know.
Yeah. Thank you, Cooler.
Thank you guys. I love coming here. I swear I do. I swear I do.
Oh Lord. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take mine. Give me some.
Give it to you.
Give me
good
some.
girl. You know,
You see me, I'm on the edge like
You're like, what's gonna happen?
but here's the thing, right? Steph is one of those people who pushes me and she doesn't even realize she does. You push me in a way that allows me to be vulnerable as a man, which is not easy to do. It's not common to do. It takes a level of humility and quite frankly a little bit of arrogance to submit to a sister who is so dope that you just sit back and you just watch it. You just watch the dope.
yeah, watch it
You
unfold.
just watch it unfold in front of you, and you know that you get to benefit that from that dopeness. But then you watch everybody else, and you see everybody else go, oh, you know. And I get to be here for it, and I'm happy about that. You know, when I call you my right hand on my right side, I don't speak that like you help me. You know, you really, really help me. And I don't get a lot of help. I'm one of those people who kind of does a lot. And I'm one of those people, I gotta just do it on my own because it ain't gonna get done my way. But if you and I discuss it and you got it, I don't gotta think about it anymore. And I appreciate that so much, man. And I appreciate how much they rock with you.
They do give me love.
They rock with you. And it validates what I already know. You know, and I said in social media recently, and I'll say again, you know, I remember the day that this happened.
Oh my gosh.
You know, we were standing outside the original den, you know, and it was a very chance kind of meeting. You know, we talked about it, but it was the way it popped. It was chance. We met. I won't get into the specifics, but we talked about it, and you came back, and you've been here ever since, and it has enriched me personally, and it has enriched the show. And so I want to thank you, my sister, so much for being here with me and with Kula and with John when he's here and adding to our brand because tell you something, man, we got to pick up each other. We don't do enough of it. It's why I'm so extra with my expressiveness because I want y'all to know how much I love y'all and I want to plant the seed for y'all to go into your lives and give that kind of love to other people. I want y'all who are listening and watching to take that and give it to other people because I'm at a stage in my life after 48 years when I'm learning my love language, it's words of affirmation.
You're good at it.
Words
Yeah,
of
that's definitely
affirmation.
good at it.
It's important because we all need to be validated.
Yes.
Our greatness needs to be validated because you got people walking around here great as a motherfucker and nobody tells them. They don't
Preach.
know. And so they fall back and they regress and they get sunken in the chair and they disappear. They end up on the floor. I'm not going to do the floor part. I was trying to be dramatic. I'm not going to do that part. You know, but you saw me going and they were going to the floor. I'm not going to go to the floor, but context clues, y'all see me. That's what you give to me. And that's what you give to me too. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all my sisters and I love you. Your turn. Don't cry. Rock the mic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cry, but thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. And you know what? As much as you speak such powerful words and pour it into me and the other people who come into the den, and to our brother John, I think it's important for people to realize that when somebody makes that effort to receive it, don't let those words fall on deaf ears, and don't allow those words to go unnoticed, unappreciated, and unevaluated. And so it's interesting that you would say those things, because it ties into my message tonight, which is not as much of a rant as it is a reminder. So there's this popular thing that people understand, we've all probably said it. What's understood does not need to be explained. Black people, my brother John's not here, so I'm going to say, Black people, Black people, we're not understood. We're not understood. And other people are explaining for us. It's happening every day. The other day, there was a politician that made a statement that, yes, we absolutely need to be focused on gun violence, especially because it's coming from Black people, particularly Black men. And that statement was allowed to lay there. So we can't be in a space of where what's understood does not need to be explained. What's not explained often is misunderstood when it comes to Black people, when it comes to who we are, when it comes to what our power is, when it comes to what our power source is. People are consistently misrepresenting the brand that is Black America, and we're allowing it. We're often allowing it because we spend time, we use our platforms to speak about the things that don't need to be discussed, the things we shouldn't be discussing. Internal business doesn't need external observation. Keep it in the house. But when it comes to what we do so well, every single time, we should be pointing it out. I don't think we do a good enough job of saying, oh, this Jack Harlow is only good because, and you only think he's good because, and point out who he is, whose style he's biting off, whose style he's ripping off, who he's getting help from in the industry, things like that. When you're in your community, don't just say, yo, Cool is dope. Say why Cooler is dope. Because as much as what we love to say what's understood doesn't need to be explained, we got a lot of explaining to do. We really do. People don't understand. And they spend a lot of time explaining a misunderstanding of who we are. And we sit back too chill and too cool to correct. We are the most misunderstood individuals on the planet. The Black community, and I know this will sit on YouTube, this will sit on Legacy Internet Radio, my words will be heard. I don't care if it's heard by clients, former or current. Black people create such a huge culture of kindness and understanding and love and unity among one another. And you all just want to focus on crime in Chicago. It's your only trope. People are killing each other outside of Chicago, and those people aren't Black. It's your only trope. And Black folk, we allow it. Sometimes we repeat it. We say things like Black women don't get along with one another, are shady, or whatever. It's a misstatement. It's a misstatement that a young Black girl will have to follow behind when she goes to corporate America, because you didn't take the time to explain what's not understood. That we, Black people, bring so much to the table. It's not just about the fact that we built this country for free. We did. It's not just about the fact that everything you are shaking your hips to and enjoying right now came from music that we created before we even got here. Yes, it did. It's not just about the fact that you can't even make a reality TV franchise, which I'm not a big fan of, can't even make one and make it as dope as it could possibly be without brown faces there. You love our entertainment. You do not talk about our empathy. You love our comedy. You want to laugh with us. You don't want to talk about our compassion. You love the power of our style and our humanity, but you never want to talk about how we pull ourselves up out of poverty. We are so misunderstood that we need to take time to explain. And the explanation is not an excuse, the explanation is clarity. We have a responsibility to make people clear on who we are. I have that responsibility for Kula when I walk in this world and for Marcus when I walk in this world. Am I my brother or sister's keeper? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Or else I will be marching and all of a sudden I'm my brother's keeper. He's dead and gone and I'm marching on his behalf. I am my brother's keeper. I am Marcus's keeper now. I am Kula, my sister's keeper now. And the way that I must do that is to let people know that what they understand about us is misunderstood and to be clear in explaining it. And I'm saying that to the people who even feel that you don't owe white folks an explanation. No, you don't owe them anything, but you do owe that sister behind you. And you do owe that brother that went before you. And you do owe our elders. And you do owe our ancestry. You owe it a voice that is loud and outspoken and that speaks so loudly, speaks the truth so loudly over the loudly spoken lie that the liar begins to clam up. What's misunderstood does need to be explained. And you owe that to yourself. And that's my rant.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you to my sisters who been so graceful in sharing space with me tonight, and I'll take us home. You guys know me. I have been one for most of my life who has been very hesitant in celebrating myself. I'm not really comfortable with it. I'm much more comfortable giving kudos and love to those around me. But I'm gonna talk about myself here in this rant. My birthday was Friday, a couple of days ago, and I turned 48 years old, and I'm so happy about that. I'm happy to have had a birthday recently, and I'm happy to be 48 years old. I remember when I was younger, uh, when I would see my older brother, more specifically when he turned 25. I remember, I guess I was 19, and I remember thinking, same age as his mama now. See how that happened? Uh, and I remember thinking, 25, dude, you're a whole quarter of a century years old, man. Wow, and I would give him heat for it, and him being an older brother by then, he was used to my stuff, my shit. So he didn't care so much. But, just as I've gotten older, it has become more of a thing, more important to me. And I didn't always celebrate my birthday because I just didn't really think other folks cared as much about my birthday as I cared about my birthday. And I guess the self-deprecating side of me, the anxiety-ridden side of me, just kind of got used to not really caring that much about it. I had three birthday parties in my life. 5, 35, and 42. When I was 5, nobody came. I remember that. I remember ain't nobody come to my birthday party, y'all. I was like, the fuck? Ain't nobody come? I'm 5, like, fuck, ain't nobody come to my party. Like, no. I'm old enough to know that that's weird. you know? Yeah, this is a story I'll tell you later. Actually, I don't have a story to tell. They ain't come to my party. 35 was at the crib and it was cool. The family came, it's cool. 42, Legacy Internet Radio threw me a surprise party that I knew about, that I acted like I didn't know about because people that threw it for me was important to them. So I had to act like I didn't know, even I knew they was throwing a party for me. Right? It was great. But it was around about that time that I started embracing it. Self-deprecating humor is a whole thing for me, but it's also a flip side to that because I'm a dope dude. And it's not politically correct to say that out loud. And I'm not going to make this rant about me doing that. but I didn't always celebrate my birthday because I didn't think that other folks around me cared enough. And so I kind of kept it to myself. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to embrace the whole idea of the personal holiday. We go through the whole year and we celebrate all kinds of stuff. The first day of the year is a holiday. New Year's Day is a holiday. And then in February, we're supposed to celebrate our love for other folks, right? We go through the whole year. We got Memorial Day and July 4th and then we celebrate Jesus's birthday and all that kind of stuff, right? We celebrate everybody and everything else except for our own. And then the moment that we do, we are tagged with being arrogant or conceited, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm here to dispel all of that. It's okay to celebrate yourself. And those who have known me through my adult life, y'all probably bugging off of this rant right now because you know how I've always been. But it's important. If we can tell everybody to support people and support, and we go and stop at stoplights and we see people on the corner and we want to give them money, or we see all kinds of ways to support other folks, but yet we don't look to support ourselves, and we don't understand that self-preservation is the first law of the land. Anytime that we big up ourselves, we got to catch heat from sorry ass people who got shit with their own personalities telling us that it's a problem when we say nice stuff about ourselves. So this rant tonight is about that. It's about knowing your worth and knowing your dopeness and knowing how important it is to be your own very, very first cheerleader. Cheerlead for yourself, because the people around you who you're looking for affirmation from, they watching you. If you don't care about yourself, they not gonna care about you. Doesn't mean that you walk around and you make a point of belittling other folks in the interest of supporting and boosting yourself up. That's not what this is about. But what this is about is understanding your own greatness and making sure those around you understand your own greatness and you celebrate together, especially on your personal holiday. So I will close this rant by saying, blessed Earth Strong, Marcus J. Happy birthday to me. And happy anniversary to me and us as we celebrate 48 years of life for me and over 10 years, going on 11 years of life for Legacy Internet Radio. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Internet radio and live podcasting. I get so much fulfillment in life from doing this and knowing and being able to fellowship with wonderful people like Kula and Steph and John and others and the folks who have been listening and watching tonight, and the people in all of the years who have been a part of what we've done here. It gives me the kind of joy that I have a hard time saying with words. And so instead of trying to do that, I'm going to get us the hell on up out of here because I feel like I've said enough. That is the Marcus's unrelated rant. Ain't got nothing to do with what we in here talking about tonight. Thank you for being a part of this. I want to say peace to all of the stars and all of the squares. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Bob Marley, who you hear singing in the background. Two more quick little tropes that I add. Authenticity. It has no competition. I want you to be well. I want you to give grace. And most importantly, keep it 100. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. Be back here live from New Den of Legacy in that radio next week. Be nice to each other and show love to your fellow man. Marcus J, Kula Von Sil, Steph B. Be back next week, y'all. I'll at your family. Peace.
We want to be free. Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, I'm with this, I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk. Steppin' is the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk.